Bueno, ya estamos en vivo. Vamos a ver para invitar a los demás. Perdón por la demora, es que hemos estado un poquito ajustados de tiempo. Vamos ahorita a compartir el link a Facebook y a Instagram para que todos puedan verlo. A ver, vamos a compartirlo por acá. Mientras, espero que haya personas o no haya. No, todavía. Vamos a publicar esto. Espero que haya personas. Ahorita estamos viendo para publicar. A ver, ya estamos en Facebook para publicar. Ya está publicado. Ahorita las dos personas que nos están viendo, bienvenidas a este nuevo directo, bueno, segundo directo del canal. Vamos a ver qué tal nos va. Ahorita, bueno, según orden, vamos a empezar por el panel de Batwoman. Vamos a ver qué tal va a aparecer la nueva actriz. Espero que nos sorprenda. Por mientras vamos a esperar 3 minutitos más para que la gente se vaya conectando. Y también para que Javier se vaya conectando también, porque ya sí que estamos un poquito ajustados con el tiempo, pero aún así, vamos a darle con todo. Vamos a empezar con el panel de Batwoman. Vamos a ver qué tal nos va.
Welcome to DC Fandome. My name is Trish Bendix. I'm a regular contributor with the New York Times. You're watching the Batwoman panel, and I'm excited to be a part of this epic event because it's the first chance the world will have to meet the new Batwoman herself. But first, we'll be speaking with the cast about an incredible, action-packed first season on the CW. All right, before we get into what we have to look forward to on new episodes, I'd like to bring in executive producers Caroline Dries, who is also the show's creator, and Sarah Schechter, along with the show stars Rachel Skarsten as Kate Kane's sister Beth, and maniacal leader of the Wonderland gang Alice, Megan Tandy as top crow officer and Kate Kane love interest Sophie Moore, Cameron Johnson as Wayne Enterprises go-to genius Luke Fox, and Nicole King as socialite do-gooder and valued member of the Bat Team Mary Hamilton. Woo! You all Thanks for being here. I'm excited to talk with you about season 1. Let's just kick off. I'd love to hear from you all about, what the fan reaction has been like. It was a lengthy season, and, I'm sure you've heard from all different kinds of people. So who wants to kick it off?
It was an amazing first season. I mean, we all had such a good time shooting it. I mean, the fans have been super supportive since day one, and they continue to be supportive. I'm glad that we got to end the first season on such a cool note because the fans have been freaking out about it for the past couple months. So I'm stoked to keep going.
Yeah, I think we were all just really excited to be a part of the whole universe, Like we were sort of fans ourselves. I think each and every one of us individually. So yeah, just to get to be a part of something and then also just something so groundbreaking is really cool.
Yeah, and I will say, like, after one whole season with that under our belts, I feel definitely excited to be going into season 2 with like sort of established takes on our own characters.
Yeah, just being a part of the whole Gotham world has just been absolutely so much fun. But the impact that the show is making it's just been like it's just added the extra experience to this whole thing to just be so amazing. So it's Gotham, and then we're making an impact and we're doing some groundbreaking things. So it's awesome.
I'm just so proud of our cast. I was so nervous taking on the mantle of Gotham City, the Batman lore, the Batcave, the Bat gadgets, all of that comes with the responsibility that comes with a show that people are kind of already familiar with that world. And just getting able to create this really rich world of characters and having these actors just take on these roles and make them their own, it's been so rewarding. Like Megan said, the extra of the fans just kind of feeling like we're doing something good for the world was unexpected and really appreciated. So I'm just like so grateful that we're here for season 2.
Yeah, and for Greg Berlanti and I think, look, we're so fortunate we get to really play in this world quite a bit and don't take it for granted. But Batwoman has just been an incredible addition. I love the darkness of it. I love the groundedness and obviously everything it has to say. And this cast is just incredible. So we're really lucky.
Was there anything particularly surprising for any of you, that you got to do, or even that you learned about your character or yourself through the process of season 1? And also, Caroline and Sarah, if you want to speak to writing and creating this world, like if there was anything that surprised you that, maybe you didn't intend to happen, but, it came about somehow throughout season 1.
I definitely didn't think that we could use Batman in the show. That was a huge surprise. I mean,
Bruce Wayne,
it was literally the first shot. The very first shot of the show was the silhouette of Batman, which I was told every step of the way you were not allowed to do. And then somehow I'm on set and like I was sending Sarah and Greg the footage from Video Village, and I was like, "Here's our first shot," and it was actually Batman. And so it was like so cool. And then we ended. Our last shot was Batman. The other thing that just kind of surprised me was how we stayed true to the family dynamic of the show and how we have the Bat family and we have the Kane family and we have the Crows family. And that was really empowering and enriching. And it was just felt like a regular drama. And then it was in this heightened world of Gotham that allowed us to, have high stakes.
Yeah, I definitely say the characters were my biggest surprise. I mean, Hush is such an incredible, huge character. So being able to use him for multiple episodes, like that was amazing. And then for Luke Fox specifically, I didn't expect in season 1 that I'd be able to go to such deep emotional lengths, to go from like bawling, crying in the rain with, confronting my alleged father's killer in one episode, and then, attacking someone with a gun in the next episode. It went from 0 to 100 so quickly. And that was very cool. So I'm really excited to see what happens to them in the next season, because in this season, we get to see so many different facets of him in those 20 episodes.
I feel really lucky and special that we invested in the Kane family. And I feel really lucky that someone who looks like me gets to be a part of telling sort of a family dynamic. And we got to explore a really modern family and almost ground the show in that way. And I really am interested to see where that goes, and having to lose a parent just pretty early on in the season was something and a loss that I was almost glad, and I felt rewarded in that the fans felt as though it paid off and they felt for Mary. So I think that goes to show the work that everyone sort of put in to establish those really intimate dynamics really, really quickly.
Definitely. I'm curious about, specific fan reactions that you've heard that were maybe, just something that it didn't occur to you or you didn't necessarily see in your character or yourself, or that you didn't expect for people to pick up on. Was there anything that, you've heard that you were like, oh yeah, I guess I never thought about it.
Everybody always asks me to do my evil laugh. And I think it might just be my laugh. I don't know if it's like, I didn't specifically like craft an evil laugh. I just laughed at things. And then now everybody thinks it's this like evil laugh that I have. So I've just
Are you gonna
my
change?
natural laugh is an evil laugh.
Speaking of Alice, I didn't expect so many fans to like want her to win so bad. Like I feel like no matter what Alice does, the fans are like, yeah, more of that. You deserve it all. Burn it all down.
Well, it is 2020.
I guess what was kind of, it's not that I didn't already know of these things, but what was really just kind of interesting with Sophie was just the conversations that it started to spark, seeing the reaction from a lot of the fans of their response of how Sophie handled the situation at Point Rock with Kate versus people who understood why she did it. Obviously there's, so much controversy just in, with that in of itself, but it sparked some really good conversations that's been, of course, being in that position, it's kind of challenging. It's just like, don't be mad at me. But it's getting people to ask questions. It's getting people to question their own beliefs, like why that would be an issue, like why would you be mad at somebody who needed to cover, so I love that it's really sparked people to just ask questions and to just want to educate themselves. So
I maybe had an idea of how much an ally Mary was, but I think I really discovered that and found out about that, especially with her relationship with all of these characters. I feel like she's really rooting for everyone except for Alice, which makes for good TV, I guess, because everybody's rooting for Alice too, but they're torn.
I didn't expect so many Luke and Mary ship tweets. They've been shipping.
Oh yeah.
But like,
can I say I'm a fan of Hamilton.
Really, you're surprised?
I'm such a fan.
Hamill Fox.
Yeah, me
too.
I'm
on that bandwagon.
I came up with Hamill Fox myself, and I
You
appreciate
did?
it.
No, you didn't. You did?
I did. Yeah, Hamill Fox. I made up. Yeah, all the fans.
It's good.
It out, and I came up with Hamill Fox, and it became the thing, which is so cool. But like, it happened so early. It was like episode 3 maybe, and I think they just figured out like, oh, smart kid, they should be together. And then on episode 5, whenever Luke and Mary met, all the fans are like, this is it. They have to date.
Season 2 will be taking a very different turn with the introduction of a new Batwoman. And I'm so thrilled to be able to bring to you now. You might have seen her on God Friended Me or on BET's The Family Business. And now she's the CW's Ryan Wilder, AKA the new Batwoman, Javicia Leslie, everyone.
Yay!
Yeah, what up?
Oh my goodness, we're so excited to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, everyone.
Well, we want to welcome you officially. I mean, I'm not even a part of the Batwoman family, but I feel like they feel like I can extend the welcome to you right now. Everyone's so excited to meet you for the first time.
I'm still in shock too, but I was actually in the middle of praying and meditating because I needed something just to calm the anxiety, because it had been, we were waiting for a while to find out, and so I literally had just finished praying. And I looked over and it was my manager. And in my mind, I knew, I was like, she's calling to tell me I didn't get it. Damn it. And so I answered it and she said, hi, may I speak to Ryan Wilder, please? And I
that's cool. Wow. So, what were the initial sort of feelings, because it's a big role, and you're starting in a second season of a show that's established. Like, tell us a little bit about, how are you feeling right now? And, what kind of, excitement did you have specifically to play a character like Ryan Wilder and Batwoman?
When I read the character description, it was definitely me. Like, I love the idea that, it's like goofy meets badass meets a person that doesn't like to be told what to do, a person that does not like to follow the rules. It's really hard for me sometimes when it comes to like, okay, well, you have to do it this way as Javicia versus, what you have to do when you're an actress and when you're trying to present yourself. And so I love the fact that Ryan is just
Hi, AAPTXL. This is the second part of the DC Fandom. DC Fandom Explore the Multiverse. That is focused in series on different part of the comics, like Joker, Skull Yoga, different things. So the first part was focused on the movies, like Shazam, Black Adam, and Batman, and different parts. We make this schedule
superhero. You don't get to see that often. And then a month later, I become the first Black Catwoman. So
to make this live with different panels, so I wanted to enjoy it.
Really, like, hits the nail on the head when it says, like, speak your dreams, speak your affirmations, and truly just know that whatever you really want to do and you continue to go towards it, it can happen. I also I love that it's action. Like, I love that I get to kick ass. I'm really into Muay Thai. I started Muay Thai like 2 years ago, but then when I had to go to New York for God Friended Me, I just moved into kickboxing because those classes are like a lot easier. So I was like letting off all of my stress on the bag instead of on a person. Able to do that every day on set is going to be super dope.
Amazing. And, I'm curious too, as a Black woman, as a bisexual woman who's stepping into this role, taking on an iconic character that we celebrate because she's a part of the LGBTQ community, but especially like you were mentioning, being a Black woman to take on this superhero role that woman has never been Black before, right? So, I mean, how does that feel? And what, it seems like fans are so excited and they couldn't have been more thrilled to see that you were stepping into the role. So I'm curious about what you've seen from other people, and does that add any stress, or does it just add to the excitement?
No. It's honestly, it feels like an honor. It's funny because I was looking on Instagram and I was just kind of scrolling through like new followers, and I saw all these rainbows in the bio, and I just felt like a representation. I felt like exactly what I've always wanted to be, which was a role model. I feel honored. I feel excited. I feel like there's so many little Javicias, that don't have voices, little Black girls that didn't have a voice, little bisexual, bi-curious, lesbian, gay, everything that just didn't have voices. And I feel honored to be able to be a voice for my community, and the entirety of my community. And then to play a character that represents my community in the same way, like, that's not a common thing as an actress, to be a part of a community and play a character of a community. It feels really powerful. And I feel like with everything that's going on right now, this is what we need. We need to see representation. And I'm so thankful to Caroline. I'm so thankful to Sarah. I'm so thankful to Greg Berlanti and everyone at WB, because this is what's needed, not just for me. I'm looking at the entire cast of Batwoman, and it is representation. I'm like, my mom and I are sitting in the living room, we're just watching the show, and we're like, oh my goodness. You get characters of all different races and ethnicities, and it's not common, and I'm really honored to be a part of it. So yeah, I'm excited. Sorry, I'm very excited, as you can tell.
No, that's perfect, because now we're going to let your new family let loose on you and ask you a couple of questions to get to know you.
And side note, speaking of family, I am so honored to have been a part, like, to join a family that was so welcoming. Like, when I went onto Instagram, like, Grant Gustin has me on his Instagram, like, oh, this is amazing.
Okay, so who wants to start asking Javicia, just to get to know her a little bit?
Yo, we love you so much. You're so great. You're just so nice and cool.
First question. It's so cool because Brandon was like, "Oh, you have cameras on that show. He's gonna have your back," and I already knew Megan.
Yes.
It was dope.
Yeah, we were all family before you even joined, so it's like it really cements it now that you're here.
Yeah.
My question is, because of your shirt and your plant, is your favorite color green or no?
My favorite color is actually blue.
That's my favorite color.
Nice.
Yeah.
So who was your biggest influence growing up?
I am obsessed with Eartha Kitt. I'm obsessed with Nina Simone. I am obsessed with Kerry Washington. Obsessed with, of course, Reese Witherspoon, just actresses that really transformed. And then not only did they just transform, but they ended up using their platform to take everything further, not just themselves, but to create opportunity for others. One of my main reasons for being obsessed with Eartha Kitt and Nina Simone is because they use their art for activism. And I just think that that's so important. So those are like my huge influences.
Nice.
Do you do anything outside of acting? Like, is Muay Thai like your main hobby, or do you write? Do you sing?
So I tap. I tap.
Yeah.
Yay.
So Batwoman's gonna need tap boots.
Yes,
We're
definitely
gonna
going
need
to
a
tap
dance on that thing.
That'll work.
We're gonna do a dance on
I am obsessed with cooking. My plans for this summer was to start my online cooking show, which I don't think that that's going to happen now.
Oh wow.
I'm an insane plant mom. This is Diana Ross. Inside of Diana Ross's pot is Tracy.
I love that you named them.
Oh my
That's
God,
so cute.
you and
We have Jimi Hendrix. We have Huey P. Newton. Over there is Marvin Gaye. Cher.
Hey.
I'm obsessed. You and Rachel are a match made in heaven.
You're gonna get along very well.
I know Rachel's obsessed with dogs, and I have my Judah Buddha over there somewhere. So yeah, I'm a huge like nature plant fanatic.
Amazing.
What made you want to be an actress?
Because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. I wanted to do everything in the world. So I was just like, well, how about I'm an actress and I can just play everything in the world. So it's like, I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a professional cheerleader. I wanted to be a writer. There was just so many things that I wanted to do. And I'm like, and I'm a Gemini. So it's just like, there's no way I can just settle on one thing. So why even choose to settle on one thing? Just be an actress and you can literally be anything you want to be.
You had like a real job too before you started acting, didn't you? You were helping.
Yeah, I used to work for the Army. I used to work for the Army. Yeah, paying soldiers that were stop loss in Afghanistan. So I'd pay them for the time that their contract ended to the time that they were able to come back home.
Dang.
Wow. That's cool.
And I'm a military brat, so I have so much love for our soldiers.
Yes. As a kid, did you have a superhero, a real life superhero that influenced you?
She's in here now, my mama.
Aww.
My mom. Mom. She raised my brother and I, and she's Army, and she's done 2 tours in Iraq, and she is Superwoman to me. So, matter of fact, she's Batwoman. I call her Bat Mom.
Okay, but really importantly, coffee or tea?
Ooh, it's kind of both. It's coffee right now.
You can't answer both. If you could only have one.
No.
I can only have one, so we're just gonna choose what I'm drinking right now, which is coffee.
Okay, good.
There it is.
Yes, there it is.
Awesome. You guys are only going to get to know each other better. So I can't wait to see how this family develops on screen, and often we get to see you do more panels in the future. And so let's talk a little bit about what we can even begin to know about season 2, whatever you guys can share. I'm really curious about what's going to happen with each of your characters and what Caroline and Sarah will even allow us to know. So let's start with, what's going to be different now that there's obviously going to be a huge new mystery.
We have 2 major stories this season as we come into season 2. The first one is, where's Kate? What happened to Kate? Is she alive? Is she dead? Is she missing? Is she on the run? Is she held captive? Is she lost? These are all huge mysteries that push us deep into the season. And all of our characters are going to have different perspectives on that, different conspiracy theories, different points of view, and it will create a lot of drama, tension, mystery, intrigue, and it will be shocking and awesome and amazing. And then we have, if we were just, obviously just talking to Javicia, we have a new hero rising into Gotham. And, Ryan, Javicia can tell you about her, but she's a new character to the world of DC, and she has a lot kind of going against her. She was a girl who was a statistic of injustice the moment she was born, and the system was not built for this person, and she will constantly battle against the system all throughout. She's battled through it her whole life, and she will continue to battle against it as Batwoman. So we're just really, really, really excited to have Javicia playing that role.
I know that going into it, it's going to be a struggle, because when you're a part of a community that has been neglected by the system, that's the initial community that you feel responsible for helping. And that's what you're going to see. You're going to see that community of Gotham that got overlooked. And it's funny because a lot of Mary's patients can be examples of that community. You know, the community that gets overlooked by the hospital, by the Crows, it's a very personal thing, but that will be a huge battle. I know when Caroline and I were talking about it, just the battle of like, you can't, they're not the only ones that need help, but those are the ones that Ryan is attached to, that she really wants to be able to help, you know? And just the idea that the same person that will go kick some bad guy's ass will make sure she go feeds the cat in the alley, you know, or gives the little girl, the orphan girl, a place to stay or a place to go. So just to kind of have that crusader that's for that part of the community, I think that that's important, and that's really what we're going to dive into this season.
And just going off of that, I'm especially excited to see this new relationship happen in the wake of Mary dealing with this mysterious disappearance and how she decides to sort of take it hard. And she's been a person who I think is always looking for family, is always looking for community, is always looking for somebody to see her, which is, I think, a huge source of why the clinic exists for her. There are just much deeper personal reasons for that. And I think her and Mary and Ryan sort of have that in common, perhaps, which is why I think Mary really looks to Ryan in this way.
So with Sophie, she is going to have a lot on her plate. There's going to be a lot that's going to fall upon her. She's going to have a lot of things that she's going to have to process and deal with and figure out. It sounds a lot like my current life right now, so it shouldn't be too hard to play. But the thing with Batwoman is she's going to really understand the importance of why Batwoman has to stay secretive, and she's going to appreciate that. So, you know, with the new Batwoman coming into Gotham, Sophie's going to have no clue. She's going to want her to stay masked.
I think Alice is just going to be like peeved, you know, like here she has this like beautiful, intricate plan for the demise of her sister, and that will have been foiled. But she also, I think, is going to have a lot to worry about, because we're introducing a new character, Sophia, who Alice had talked about in the last season. The introduction of Sophia will be intriguing, just because this is, you know, a sort of a backstory of Alice that we haven't had the opportunity to see before.
And I'm actually really excited because there, you know, was this triangle between Alice, Kate, Kane, and Mary. And, you know, without Kate actively in that triangle, I'm really, really interested to see sort of Mary and Alice's relationship and where that goes, because there's a lot still that hasn't been dealt with. And Kate was a buffer of sorts between them. And so without that buffer, you know, anything could happen.
I think we become best friends.
Yeah.
Should we go shopping?
Grief does amazing things.
You need a ship name now. So Cam, come up with a good ship
I'll work
name
on
for
it.
Mary
I'll work
and
on
Alice.
it. Yeah. I think it's going to be a very interesting year for Luke, because Luke doesn't really trust a lot of people, and it took him so long to trust Batman's cousin. So now that she's gone and we have this new person, I mean, obviously he's always down for someone to keep Gotham safe. That's what he cares most about, is keeping Gotham safe. But at the end of the day, Ryan to Luke is someone from the streets, and it was already so hard to trust someone that like had the army experience and had the money and had all the stuff, and to suddenly like give this precious bat suit to like this new person is going to be really hard for him. I think he's going to be down to work with her, but I think there's always going to be a bit of pushback, especially after last season of diving into all of the dad stuff and also having Kane be his sort of connect to the rest of the cast. Like, he never would have met Mary or Sophie or Alice or any of these people without Kane. So now that she's not around, having to deal with all of these new relationships through his main trusting source, and also introduce this new person that he doesn't even know how to deal with yet, is going to be a lot for him.
Caroline and Sarah, I'm curious about, what does Javicia as Ryan and as the new Batwoman bring to the next season that we maybe didn't get a chance to see a lot of, or that you can develop more of in season 2?
When Javicia auditioned, it just personally, when Javicia auditioned, it was obvious to everyone watching the tape within like 5 seconds. We was over Zoom and I texted somebody on the computer in the chat, like, oh, she gets it. Like, it just was so clear that Javicia was meant for this role. And then when I talked to her, she said, I feel like I am Ryan. My friend said, she heard me auditioning and she was like, oh, you are Ryan. And I was like, yeah, it just feels like destiny, which is kind of one of the themes of the season. And then the other thing she did, which I didn't even see until after, all I needed to do was see, I told her you had me at tire flip. So she just brings everything, sort of intellect, emotion, heart, athleticism, everything, you want in your hero. So I think she had to do a really hard thing, which is take a role for a script that didn't exist yet. And she was willing to trust us with it. So that's awesome.
I would say that I probably had the fastest yes to Javicia, which is before I saw the audition and I just saw her name because I knew her work so well from God Friended Me. So I was like, oh, Javicia, yeah, no, we're done. And then I watched it. Such beautiful work, and I still remember her audition for that. But I think that, the idea of superheroes is to fill a void for an hour a week. So for us, it's just so exciting to be able to make a show that very much is about the world we live in, as much as it's set in Gotham.
Great. No pressure, Javicia.
Not at all.
No.
Just the
She's
whole
got
world on
it.
shoulders.
All right, let's get to some fan questions. A fan from the United States wrote, hey, I just want to first off say, as a Black trans woman, your casting, Javicia, truly helped me feel seen. Honestly, this is a big win. My question is, have you done any costume fittings yet?
No, I haven't done any costume fittings. We were talking about doing costume fittings very soon, so that way we can get prepared as soon as we get there. But I know Caroline and I were also talking about how important it is that if we're going to have a Black Batwoman, that she needs to be like a sister when she becomes Batwoman. So it's important for her to still, like, the silhouette of her to still look like that, So more of like a natural textured hair and things like that. So I think we're still kind of like putting things together. I can't wait. I actually have no idea. I've just been sending her fan art, like, oh my gosh, look at this. This looks really good. And I think she'll be just as surprised as at least everyone else on this panel when we see it.
Yeah, the fan art has been awesome. The fan art is actually, like, keep the fan art coming. We're all, I get like emails from Caroline every day.
Yeah, it's so cool. And we love that people are so excited about the character already. And one thing that I loved about season 1 was how Kate's coming out story. She had already come out of the closet as Kate, but she now wanted Batwoman to come out of the closet. And that was like this huge story arc that we applied to season 1, because it felt like so stifling that this girl who's out is hiding her identity. And likewise, I wanted to tell that same story with Ryan. And so that's what Javicia and I have been talking about, is like, how can we make sure that Ryan isn't hiding what makes her awesome with the suit? And so it's going to be a little bit of an evolution, as we're going to see the suit evolve early on in the season. And, Ryan is like, for me to feel empowered in this thing, it needs to feel like I'm representing something that I'm fighting for.
Ooh. It's going to look good.
Oh.
Cameron, I love your face. You're like,
I'm so excited.
It's gonna be so cool.
Well, a fan from the UK wants to know, what has been your favorite episode to film so far?
I love episode 8, our mid-season finale. I just thought it was so beautifully shot by Holly Dale, and it was a time I left set both thinking that was the hardest thing I've ever done, and also maybe one of the most rewarding days I've ever had on a set. And so I felt really honored that day.
Episode 5 was just one of the best episodes of the season, I think. It was so beautifully shot and so well done. The Kate and Alice story on one side, and then the Luke and Mary introduction story on the other side, it just fit together so well. And also the Alice stuff was just shot really well. Like how we practically did that flashback into real time shot. Mwah! Chef's kiss. And then also
that was Mark, our DP. It was like brilliant. He did it with lighting alone. There were no
Mark is so good.
Yeah, Mark
unreal.
He got nominated for an award for that episode. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And my second favorite was 19. 19 was that was the one where Hush kidnapped me and Christina, right? Yeah. Right, Caroline? Was that right? Yeah. That one was dope. It's like we had so much freaking fun doing that episode, because in one room we had Luke and Julia and Hush and Mouse and Alice all in the same place for like 2 days straight. So it was so fun. Yeah, it was just like, it was really like just hanging out with all your buds, and like the scenes were so fun. We're like torturing each other and stuff, and we're like getting each other's faces. Man, like that was my favorite episode, because we just had some of the most fun shooting that episode from the whole season.
Also from that episode, I felt like I really admired Gabe's work without his face. Like when his face was covered up, I don't know, he couldn't really make like facial expressions as easily. But I really like loved how he used his like arms and stuff, and I don't know, it was just this like epic, all the villains came out to play, and I just it was really cool to watch.
Yeah, Gabe, who plays Hush, said something very cool. He said since he's never played a character where he can't show his face very much, he just kind of went to more dancey, and he just had to like act with his body. So that's why you see a lot of like hand movements on camera, and it works so well, because he had to put all of his acting talents in his face to the rest of his limbs, which is really cool.
Did he use your? Did he steal yours?
He was inspired by Cam. He would say. He would say.
A fan from Kenya wants to know, how will the new character bond with the Kane family?
I don't see the Kane family really liking Ryan. Several reasons. I mean, obviously because Commander Kane, I mean, he's not about the whole vigilante street kid life, but also because I'm sure they're grieving, not a loss, because I don't know if it would be considered a loss, but well, obviously it's considered a loss, but the way it's presented in the show, I don't know how it will be presented. But just this kid, this woman that kind of came out of nowhere and had such a rough background, because the difference between Kate Kane and Ryan is like Kate Kane was groomed and she comes from wealth and she comes from status, while Ryan didn't have anything growing up. So I don't really see them having a connection at all. And I see that being a huge influence on a lot of the tension between Ryan and the Kane family.
That also goes for the Kane family themselves. We've come a long way from our, morning breakfast at the table and sharing coffee with each other to where all of the members of the Kane family are now, in crazy different locations, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically.
Those were very thoughtful and insightful answers. I think, like Javicia said, there's going to be just the swirl of emotions surrounding Kate's disappearance. And obviously Jacob doesn't like vigilantes, but I think me being able just to see sort of globally what season 2 is about, I think Ryan will ironically ultimately unite the Kane family, whether or not they realize it. There are all of these strands of connection that she brings to them that allows them to continue interacting and having changing dynamics.
Okay, another fan from the UK wants to know, what would everyone like to see happen with Sophie next season?
Ooh.
love story with Alice.
Yeah, actually,
You and your love stories, Alice.
That would be good.
Everyone's in love. Everyone's in love with Alice. There's enough love for everyone here, guys.
Personally, I want to see Sophie kind of become more of like a Commissioner Gordon situation, like just rise up in power. And because now that you don't have, I mean, you already didn't really know who Batwoman was, but now that it's a completely new Batwoman, it's another Black woman. I think there's like a sort of family sisterhood there. So I think you're like, I'm gonna protect you still, like you're still a hero. But I think I want to see Sophie just like continue to take over Gotham. I guess like I kind of want to see you become the mayor. Like I want to see you become like the sort of peacekeeper of the city as best as you can.
Selfishly, I want them to. I want Mary and Sophie to keep kikiing because Sophie looked absolutely drop dead gorgeous in the holdup, and I was like,
Sophie and dresses. Yeah, no, actually, I really loved our stuff with me and Nicole. It was just, I don't know, I think our whole banter was just always really good and just so organic. And yeah, I loved all of that. But I feel like I would love to do something like that with Batwoman, especially with her being Black. But remember, we don't like each other at first. So I feel, seeing the evolution of that will be really interesting and it'll be fun.
Yeah, and I think what will be fun, at least writing Sophie, is that Ryan and Batwoman, but mostly Ryan, sort of helps pull Sophie out of her shell. And maybe we edge you up a little bit this season and just, you're Sophie who plays by the books and colors within the lines when, as we got to know you, but, now you're, maybe, a little more of a
branches out.
Yeah, branches out a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that will be cool. Yeah.
Hey, the girl's coming out in all different ways. So bring it out.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that was participating in the DC Fandome and for this amazing Batwoman panel, getting to meet Javicia for the first time. Ryan Wilder, we cannot wait to see you in action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Thank you all so much. And we're excited to see you in when we can finally see the silhouette of the new Batwoman. Yes.
Thank
Just like
you,
that.
Trish.
Yeah.
Thanks, Trish.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
A ver, ha sido bastante interesante el panel, ¿no? Ha sido bastante interesante el panel. Vamos a seguir con la lista. Estábamos pensando en continuar con Lucifer, a ver quién opina.
Hey everybody, I'm Sherwin Shalati, one of the directors of Lucifer. Very fortunate to be one of those folks. And I just want to introduce to you guys a very special sneak peek of the Lucifer musical episode.
Hey Ella, you wanna catch Lucifer up? Oh, sure. So, it was the fourth quarter. It had just hit the 2-minute warning. Cathedral High's down by 3, but they've got possession. Cheerleaders, do you wanna just skip to the flag on the play? Right. Well, poor Steve Rockwell here dropped dead at the 50-yard line. Everyone thought he died of a heart attack, but Ella figured out he was murdered. Yeah, someone wet his whistle with poison.
That blows.
Nice. What are you gonna do though, right? Another one bites the dust.
Miss Lopez, you all right? Are you ready? Hey, are you ready for this? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? Out of the doorway, the bullets rip. To the sound of the beat. Yeah! Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust. Bite the dust. Kind of dusty. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Hey, hey. Another one bites the dust. Hey, 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 hey. Who shall? There are plenty of ways that you can hurt a man and bring him to the ground. You can beat him, you can cheat him, you can treat him bad and leave him when he's down. Yeah, but I'm ready. Yes, I'm ready for you. I'm standing on my own 2 feet. Out of the doorway, the bullets rip, repeating to the sound of the beat. Oh yeah. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone, and another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust.
What just happened?
I already told you. Poison whistle.
Wow. I don't even know where to go from here, but I'd like to introduce, that is a mic drop moment. I'd like to introduce our showrunners of Lucifer, Ildi Modrovich and Joe Henderson. Welcome, you guys.
Hello.
Hello.
I mean, we're going to get to that clip in a second. My brain can't even process it, but I wish we could be together right now. I wish we could be in the same room, but this will certainly do. I'm so glad to see your faces. The fans have been waiting for a musical episode of Lucifer. I need to know so many things, but let's start with, when did you guys even have the idea that this could be an actual thing?
Gosh, I'll say it's been a slow build, a slow burn. After, I mean, in my heart, it began to blossom after the Vegas episode when Tom and Amy did Luck Be a Lady. And I remember coming into rehearsal for that and crying because it was such a dream come true, and it was so exciting to me. I'm like, and if there's any show that you could actually do a musical on, it's this one.
It was my personal mission to do a musical episode without actually having to do it, because it's really hard and exhausting. So I loved that Ildi wanted to do it, and I could be part of it, but not actually have to do all of the hard work.
Well, I remember, when I started with you guys, season 2, like hearing rumblings of, little thing every season, musical, is that going to happen? And it definitely felt like a fever dream. Like I didn't know that was really going to happen. And when it all came together, I mean, wow, what a cool surprise and incredible experience it was for all of us working on it. For the folks at home, was lucky enough to direct this episode, but it's gonna be, I just can't wait for the fans to see it. Oh, one thing I want to do is congratulate you guys on season 6. I mean, another go around, another way to bring this baby home. I mean, how do you guys feel about that?
You can't kill the devil, my friend.
Yep.
Can't do it.
Can't keep a good devil down. It is the strangest thing. We are potentially the most canceled / uncanceled show that's ever existed.
That's a cool distinction. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a mixture of emotional whiplash and also joy and gratitude, because we had a chance to end the season series 5, the series season 5, because we were told it was ending, and then we were given the option to decide whether or not we had more story to tell. And at first we were like, no, we think this is it, we're ready to go. And it was very much in our court, and Ildi and I in the room talked about it a bunch, and we're like, well,
we got one more story to tell.
And
more.
We're 2 weeks into the room, and I can't imagine not telling the story.
Wow. Let's talk really quickly, like what goes into prepping and shooting, and even the post-production side, a musical episode like this. Like, can you guys speak to that?
I don't know.
I mean, we almost broke production. We almost broke our show. Seriously, we had to create, right? Remember, I mean, we had to create a completely separate schedule just to track all the rehearsals for the dance, rehearsals for the music, and all the recording sessions for the music. And we just had to have like track every single thing just to coordinate it. And I think we almost exploded our show. We really did.
And then when you guys found out, when you actually got the news that the musical episode is happening, it's been approved, Warner Brothers was into it, all that stuff. What was that feeling after years of thinking about it?
Part of the challenge was we were always trying to find the reason. Part of it is, it's like you to me, in these musical episodes, you've got to have the story-based reason that everyone breaks into song. And our show has people breaking into song all the time, but it's because they're at Lux or because of reasons like that. So one of the challenges is, what element can we introduce that is organic to our story that allows all of our cast to burst into song? And when we found that, which I'm not going to say what it is,
no
spoiler,
I'll say it's genius, but continue.
That's when it came together.
Yes. Awesome. And would you say, as far as the cast goes, were there people who were more excited than others that you guys were going to do this musical episode? Like, who was the most jazzed and who was the least jazzed?
Well, it's funny because at the beginning of every season, we have the actors come in one by one and we kind of talk about what their story is going to be for the season. And this time, it was a question: what do you feel comfortable doing? We're going to do the musical. Do you want to sing? Do you want to dance? Do you want to do both? Pretty much everybody was like, oh, I want to do all of it.
It was fun to watch people decide where their comfort level was, because it's something that very much we wanted to empower them to like feel like, listen, do as much as little as you want, but this is your opportunity to do this if you want to.
Can you guys confirm or deny that Tom Ellis had a special suit made for him that stretched, it had a lot of give so he could do his dance moves?
Oh, I believe it's called wefting. And yes, he does indeed have a special suit. It has elastic in the armpits.
Oh, I didn't know this.
And in the crotch area. And I believe even so that you may kick and raise your arms without splitting. But I believe he split the crotch anyway.
Was there a moment when, during the prep of the episode or during the episode, where you guys may have thought, oh God, what have we done?
Most of production had that feeling every minute of every day. They're like, what'd you do, man? Whereas we were like,
By the way, I want to take over this interview a second. Sherwin, what scene as a director was the one that that challenged you, or that you found the most interesting to do?
So I would have to say the finale of the episode is one that I obviously I put a lot of thought into everything, but I wanted that one to have a special quality, a standalone quality, but not for the reasons the audience might think. So I'm pretty confident that we built the momentum up to get to that point in the episode. So to answer your question, it would probably be that final number that has so much going on in it, yet not that much at all.
It is a beautiful duet.
oh.
I will say.
Okay.
Yeah. I think all the songs, there's a lot of funny, but there's also a lot of emotion. And so there's a great range of feelings that are expressed.
As someone who wasn't there at all, I'm curious what else happened during rehearsal with the actors, moments you might have found that we see on the screen, or things like that, just as you guys were both exploring the space and the song.
Well, go LD, go.
I was going to say, I wonder if we're going to say the same thing. Is that even in like Another One Bites the Dust, which was so choreographed, it had to be.
Yeah.
There were still moments of improvisation
that made the cut. Yes.
Correct.
Tell me, I want to know.
Well,
yeah.
Can you pick it out?
Yeah, that's the key. There is a moment that one of the actors, does something on her own volition.
He did not say do it.
It was not a piece of choreography, but so many of the, we would like be dancing, between takes and like just messing around. Like everyone would just be having so much fun that like you discover things in those moments, and then you'd end up putting it in the show. So there's like 0.05% of improv in there, but it's in there. It did make the cut.
I think we can say it's Lauren. A moment between. It's a moment between Lauren and Tom.
And Lauren really takes control of the moment.
She really takes control of the moment.
Well, but that's also what's great with working with actors and working with people who understand comedy and those. It's like they're working within very strict boundaries, but they still find those little moments within it.
Yes.
That's so true. I mean, yeah.
She found it.
She sure did.
We hit the floor. It's so funny.
Oh my god! Yeah. I begged her to leave it in the cut. So I'm glad it made it. I saw it when I just watched the clip.
No begging needed. Yeah.
I am so excited for the fans to see this episode. It was such a pleasure to work on it. Always such a pleasure to work with you guys. And this is going to be a special one for the show. So thank you, Ildi. Thank you, Joe. We love you guys. We hope season 6 is getting started with a bang, and hope
it's good.
Soon.
It's good. And thank you, Sherwin. You directed a hell of an episode.
My pleasure. My absolute pleasure.
You slayed it.
Slayed
it. I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Hi. So it's like a boxer getting ready for a fight. Okay, sorry. Okay, here we go. Okay, go.
Well then, I guess that's case closed.
Yeah.
Detective, I know that you and me, look. No, she's not.
Oh my god, it's so big. It's so big.
Is it gone?
Oh, it's back. Oh, right back. He likes your backside.
Oh god. Oh.
Nobody moved.
Oh.
Jesus Christ, what was that? It felt enormous.
Oh, pumped it up. I made sure all the bases were covered for you. Boom. God, we still have to pick him up.
What's that? What was that? I'll show you what that was.
Damn!
Oh my God!
Hi, sorry.
Get off my bridge.
Linda?
Nope, can't do it. What?
Can't do what?
What happened? I heard it. Somebody said, oh. I was like, no, I'm sorry, but that made me lose my acting boner. Sorry.
Right, I see what's happening here.
You do?
Yes, and you needn't worry, Detective, because the acting police are here.
Will you marry me?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Picks up the Candy Dandy Raid, though. That's instead of the regular glazed ones. Instead of the regular glazed ones. One bite of these. Jesus Christ. You know.
Start on the hoist dock, hey, let's.
Oh God, it looks like a cheese pizza.
I know.
No.
Give me your gun.
Okay.
Put it on the floor.
Okay.
And your phone,
Where's my phone?
It's in my pocket, sorry.
Sorry.
Forgive me, Father. Oh, shit, sorry.
Here, take my strong hand.
This is the new, I can't remember
We
the
should
season.
talk about this.
Just beneath the surface.
Yeah.
I'll put that one up.
Yeah.
Hey, stop it, you two. It's good that I'm here. No? No? Oh, wait, what just happened? I'm so confused.
No, we're acting.
Oh. You guys are so good. You are so good.
Some stereotype, right?
Nice. Right.
I can't get out of here.
It felt so good, you know? Just. What is this?
Yes, exactly.
Letting loose. I don't want to freak you out, but I think we're out of time. Like,
Because that would be. What is it?
If you didn't come this far, then why did you invite me here? Wait. Are you gonna throw me how to throw? Wait. Are you gonna throw me how to throw throws today? Yeah, wait. Oh my God, wait. Are you gonna teach me how to throw knives today?
No. Welcome to DC Fandom. My name is Leah Thompson, and you are watching the Stargirl panel. For those of you who may not know, I have a special, very special, heart connection to Stargirl as I directed episode 7, Shiv Part 1. So I am absolutely thrilled to join my friends, Jeff Johns and the whole cast to discuss the fantastic, yay, first season. We have with us today the creator, the everything, the EP, Jeff Johns, and the members of the new JSA Stargirl, Breck Bassinger, woo, woohoo, Wildcat, Yvette Monreal, Dr. Midnight, Angelica Washington, our man, Camera Gelman, and our matriarch, keeping everyone honest, Barbara, played by Amy Smart. So great to see you guys.
Hey.
Wow.
What's up, fam?
So we're gonna play a little game because that's what we do here in COVID land, right? We play little games on Zoom meetings, right? So Angelica, we're gonna have to ask you to share your powers with us as we play a little game called Things. Dr. Midnight knows about me. We are all gonna get on our goggles. Do you guys have goggles? We're gonna get on our goggles. All right. And we're gonna learn a few fun things that maybe only Dr. Midnight knew before. All right, Jeff, let's start with you.
Oh.
You're our fearless leader. What are 5 things that Dr. Midnight would know about you?
5 things. Okay, I'll try and keep these somewhat Stargirl related for fun. For those who've seen the show, thank you for watching the show very much. We all worked really hard on it. And we're really proud of it and excited that we're going on to season 2, which is awesome. One of the things you'll see in the first episode, if you haven't watched it, but you probably have, is Pat has this big boy keychain. And I actually, when I grew up in Detroit, there was a big boy on my street corner. So we used to walk. My dad would take all the kids there, and we just have ice cream and burgers and stuff. So it's a place I remember fondly. And moving out to LA, there's a Big Boy in Burbank. So Big Boy's kind of got a special meaning to me. Related to food, because I like food. I worked in a restaurant for 4 years in Michigan. And so when Pat cooks, a lot of what I enjoy about cooking, I love cooking. I gave Pat, I like that Pat cooks. I like that he's the cook of the house. I like the episode where Amy's freaking out because she can't get dinner ready for 8 people. And all the cars in the show, the Buick in there, all the cars in the pit stop, that all came from a love I learned about cars from my very first boss, Dick Donner. So thanks, Dick. And originally when I wrote Stars and Stripes, #1, I had envisioned that Pat built a robot that he controlled remotely from the house, and he wasn't inside it. Someone told me, oh, they just did a robots and kids story somewhere. And so I said, oh, well, why don't I have Pat actually pilot the robot? And it's changed the whole concept because Pat is with Courtney there. And I don't know, I don't think it would have worked nearly as well if I hadn't had Pat and Courtney in the same space, if he was back home remotely controlling the robot. So that was kind of a happy little accident. And then finally, Cindy, in the comic books, originally her father wasn't going to be Dragon King, but a villain named, for all the DC fans, a villain named Cobra. So those are things that Dr. Midnight knows.
That is awesome. Yay. That is really good.
Those are so cool.
Those are great.
Yeah, I don't have great ones like that.
So now we have to go to Stargirl. Brett, what do you got?
Mine are a lot more concise. Dr. Midnight would know that Breck was a mathlete for 4 years, gold medalist. She likes to trick people into eating her amazing gluten-free baking. I also like cooking. She dreams of traveling to New Zealand. She recently found a coffee addiction while filming Stargirl, night shoots. And this is a fun little Stargirl fact. Stargirl and Breck were both seen on Earth for the first time in 1999. Year I was born, year Stargirl was first seen in a comic.
Same month, too. Same exact month, May.
See, it wasn't May 1999 because the comic book I have says June, so I wasn't.
Yeah, the comic books always have like the dates a little bit off because for the newsstand it was like take it off in June. I don't know exactly how it works, but it was released in May.
So May 1999, both Stargirl and I entered this Earth.
It was meant to be.
Yeah, it totally meant to be. I totally believe that stuff.
So Amy, we want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Yes. Well, I took it more personally for the most part. So Dr. Midnight knows that I'm an introvert and that most times I'd rather be reading a book at my house than at a party. Another one was I was a ballerina for 10 years.
Oh my gosh. That's going in an episode.
I was a ballerina. Another one is I have a doll eye. What does that mean? Just a doll eye.
Cool.
Oh.
I am a certified Kundalini yoga teacher.
Cool.
Did not know that.
My last little trivia fact is my character Barbara is named after Jeff's real life mom, Barbara.
Aww.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that is true.
Thanks, Dr. Midnight.
All right, Yvette.
Oh, hello. Okay, so my 5 fun facts that Dr. Midnight knows about me is that one of our first hangouts, mine, Breck, and Angelica's, was when I went apartment shopping with them. And it was so fun because it was the first time we were hanging out and it just was a bonding moment. Number 2, I randomly took a picture of the Wildcat comic online in 2014 and I sent that to you, remember, Jeff?
Yeah.
And now I'm cast as her in 2000, years later. So that was kind of crazy. Number 3, the first time I learned about anyone being celiac was with you guys, with Breck and Cameron. So you guys taught me about that. Number 4, I was notoriously known on set and off set to have my phone, and that's because in high school I wanted to be an editor and work in special effects. So I knew I always had to capture those moments so that I could edit it together, and later on it paid off, which it did. Totally paid off now, right?
Totally.
Okay.
You have the best videos of anyone.
They are great.
And thanks, guys. And number 5, Breck and I, towards the end of the season, we would go in the trailer and watch reality TV. Remember? Are You the One? I think that was a great bonding experience for us. So that's a random fact that you didn't know.
All right.
Wow.
Cameron,
Okay.
you're up.
Yes.
Woo!
Okay, 5 things that Dr. Midnight knows about me. The first one is that I plan to buy a camper trailer and drive to all 419 U.S. national parks in the course of this next decade in my 20s. And I have a little fund for it that Stargirl is helping pay for. Second, as a kid, I was always dressed as a superhero. And as a result, I was always getting injured because I was the world's biggest klutz. And my 7th and 8th birthday parties, I had superhero gymnastics parties. And the first year I was Batman and I ran into a balance beam and I had to get stitches. And the second year I was Spider-Man and I missed the foam pit off of a zip line and I fell on my face. So I left that year too. And both years they ate my cake still. My third, that's very sad. My third fact is that as a kid, I thought that Tarzan was a superhero, and Tarzan is my favorite superhero because I love swing sets more than anything. I am 100% sure I can talk to animals, and yeah, and I want to live in a treehouse in the jungle. So yeah, and that goes to my 4th, which is that I do want to travel the world making documentaries for animals with the specific effort of conservation. So that's super important to me and pairs with my Tarzan dream. And then my 5th is that I have never worked with anyone that had celiacs or type 1 diabetes. And I found such a magical partner and teammate in Breck. And that support was life-changing for me. So those are my 5.
Okay, so what does Dr. Midnight know about Dr. Midnight? Angelica.
Well, I feel like Dr. Midnight, actually I know Dr. Midnight knows everything because that's me. So we know all things, but some 5 fun facts that I love, things that some people may not know, but Breck and I actually got to live together the entire time of filming season 1 of Stargirl. And we'll do it again season 2 because we're so excited. Yay! Number 2, I actually bonded with Cam the most on set because we're both obsessed with Hamilton the musical, which now the world is like finally able to see. And we sing it all the time, like all day in our trailers on set, whenever. We know every word. I mean, don't like hold me to that, but we know a lot of the words and it's really great. That's my favorite thing ever. The third thing is when not filming on set of Stargirl, on our days off or on weekends, I actually would color my hair often, usually with hair chalk. But right now I have like this like reddish pink thing, and I was actually inspired by Starfire. So I really, really wanted to, I just love her and love Titans. And so I was like, I'm going to color my hair like hers because she's awesome. And the last one to tell you is that my favorite thing to do with my cast ever, the one thing we do the most when not filming is eat.
Bar taco.
Yes.
Bar taco. Love bar taco.
And that gluten-free place.
All of the chicken bitty.
Free place, chicken bitty. All of them. But surprise, I did all my 5 fun facts. Leo, what does Dr. Midnight know about you?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah. What a surprise.
See. Well, Dr. Midnight would know that I love you all. You are amazing. This is an amazing cast, and it was such an amazing experience working with all of you. You work so hard. The show is so great. It's so uplifting, and I could get verklempt. I just had the best time. You were all so great. So I know that Dr. Midnight would know that about me. I love each and every one of you. Let me think. Let's see. I was a ballet dancer too, but I'm not a yoga teacher. And my nickname is Mini Pork.
Oh, cool.
Don't know why. That's my nickname.
That's awesome.
Like the meat?
I don't know. It's just mini pork. And I have a tractor that's 35 years old that I drive, that I can drive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I have I have 5 horses and 32 chickens, a rooster, 3 dogs, a bunch of really fat koi. They're really happy. And so every day I have to put the chickens away, and I almost kill myself because the coyotes to get them. So someday if you see me with a broken arm, it's because I'm trying to gather the chickens. I'm not a great chicken whisperer is my thing. But let's see, that's something. I'm the youngest of 5, and I like to paint and sing and direct and meet you all. So that was 5, right? Oh,
that was so good.
Great.
That was so good.
We're more organized.
That was great.
That was so good.
That was so fun learning about you guys. We should do this more often.
I know.
So, do it. Now we're going to revisit one of the most intense moments from the epic last episode. Go.
My turn.
I don't have time for this.
Whoa, that was
so good.
Crazy.
So good.
Insane.
How did you do that?
That was crazy. How do you do that?
My favorite part is like, I don't have time for this. Love it.
How much strength left do you think you had, Rick, when you just like,
I know. I had 5 minutes.
whoa.
Yeah, I have 5 minutes, and Pat's wife is in trouble, Amy's in trouble, and I'm like, go get your lady. I got this. I've got 5. That's how that goes. So,
So good.
yeah.
I love seeing Grundy.
Yeah, Grundy's awesome. I got to give Andrew Orloff and Zoic props, the VFX team, and Kevin Struckman who was there. But they just made such a cool Grundy. That's so true to the comic books. And Stripe looks awesome, and that fight was a lot of fun. You know, I never thought I'd be able to see a live action Stripe versus Solomon Grundy, but that was cool.
So cool.
Incredible.
Yep.
Incredible.
So cool. It's just amazing what you guys can do, and the actors with all their, commitment to the special effects is really sells everything.
Totally.
I mean,
So
Breck had a whole thing with the staff. She had to learn how to make the staff come alive when it wasn't there.
It was like puppetry almost, but it's definitely a learning experience. How was it, Cam? Was this like your first time fighting something that wasn't there?
Yeah. No, for sure. It was. I mean, I had a big green pickle, and that's I had a big. Because you didn't see that? Yeah, I had a big green pickle with a sad face on it. And that was my Grundy. So thankfully I had something to hit, and I had the amazing stunts team, and I had Ben Akrig advising me on like how to get power into these punches. But yeah, I had a big green pickle.
I always think there should be a special Emmy or Academy Award for trying to perform with a big green pickle. And
I think so too.
It's so much harder.
It's so much harder, and it was sad. It had a sad face that distracted me because I was like, it's clearly bummed out, and I'm hitting it. Like I wish it had like an angry face,
I hope we get to see more of those epic battles in the next season. I'm sure we will. What do you think, Jeff? What do you
I'm excited for people to see more of Grundy. He's not gone just yet.
Ooh.
Camera knows what we're gonna do with Grundy.
Oh, for sure. I'm super
cool
excited.
story idea for Grundy coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah, everybody did such an amazing job, and you guys all did such a gorgeous job in the fight scene in the dungeon. Like watching every single person that we worked with show up in suits and like clash with each other. I think it's such a cool way for our show to end. Like everybody was so great.
I was screaming at the TV. It was so exciting.
I love it. On the edge of my seat, like every moment, like what's happening next? What's happening next? So good.
And it's such a treat to see it when it's finally done because it's so different than the actual experience of doing it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Totally.
That's one of the reasons I'm really excited about going back for season 2 because I feel like now I'll have a better picture. Like I know what strike fighting will look like because I've seen it.
Yeah, when you read the scripts and then you see it on TV, it's for me it's just so different. I'm like, wait, oh my god.
Did you guys see Jurassic World when at the end the two like T-Rexes fight each other?
Yeah.
That's what this fight felt like. Like
Yeah.
it
That epic.
like yeah, the two biggest, craziest like digital characters in the show have an entire sequence and it's so like larger than life and then you like have Pat in the cockpit and all of us in there. Like it's just such a masterpiece of a scene, like of a sequence.
Talk about season 2.
Yeah, where does it go, Jeff? Where does it happen? Tell us.
Well, I think one of the important things at the end of season 1 is when we introduce Eclipso. That's very important.
Whoa.
Absolutely. Jeff, I know what the people want to know. Will I have Hootie season 2?
I love Hootie. I love that Hootie's waiting for Dr. Midnight all this whole time. We will definitely be talking about Hootie at some point. So.
We're going to have some fan questions, all right? So this is from Daniel. Who would win a fight, the old JSA or the new JSA? Jeff, I think you should answer this. What do you think?
That's well, it'd be weird to see them fight. So, but it all depends who. This is a cop out answer, but it's the truth. It depends who's on the team. Like, I would hate to see this. I think that's a much bigger question. I think the question is, would they ever fight and why?
What if it was the original, like you know how it's Wildcat, Hourman, Dr. Midnight, and
Wildcat versus
Stargirl?
Wildcat, Hourman versus Hourman.
That'd be so cool.
I already know who would win.
That sounds really cool.
I would never fight Chuck a day in my life.
No.
Yeah, I know. I thought Dr. Midnight's would just talk. They talk.
See who can out-talk each other.
I just assume that the younger generation would be faster and more limber. I assume that like the older peeps are sore and their joints hurt, and so
they have experience.
You know,
I would assume. I would know. I think your dad might kick your ass.
You know how old people and young people play tennis? The young people are running around and the old people are just hitting the shot.
They're more strategic. Yeah.
They have more experience, so they like know what to do.
If I fought my dad, I'd call like a fake truce with him so that he thought we were cool, and then I'd hit him.
Good.
It's a very Rick thing to do, by the way.
Yeah, I know it's not cool.
Very Rick thing to do. Rex would never do that.
Yeah. Or I'd hit him with the Mustang.
I'd rather, Daniel? I would rather the two teams. What would the two teams have to team up to fight? How big would that threat have to be for both teams to come together? That would be cool.
So this is from Carla. What do you guys do during breaks?
I think we would dance a lot. Remember this move, guys?
Yep.
That was a good one.
We eat a lot, lots of eating towards Crafty.
Yeah.
Lots of coffee. We love coffee runs. We love coffee.
We were always on the river or the lake. We went to water sources.
We would hang out outside of set too, and we'd go dancing. Once again, I guess we dance either way, but
we I know, dance on and off.
We danced at gas stations.
We danced at gas stations. Oh my gosh, we danced everywhere.
You know what we also love to do that people don't know? We would sneak into Neil and Chris's apartment
I never did that.
To use their pool because their apartment had a pool and ours didn't. And we would just we befriended other people who lived there so we could show up and use their pool. But they would also let us use it, like if they were there. But if they were like on set filming, we would just go.
It was all about It's just cutting out the middleman. Be like, we don't want to ask you anymore.
You guys are crazy.
I remember I was just talking to Chris about this. I remember there was a day where he was like on a phone call on his balcony, and I was just down there like having a drink with my hat on, and he saw me and he was like, and he called over to Neil. I was like, "Did you invite him?" He's like, "No, he just shows up now." And then they came down. Like, it was. I think I overstayed my welcome, but it's fine. We had Waterfall Ball. We invented an Olympic sport at that pool because it had a very specially crafted fountain that was an L shape and then ran water down. So you throw a ball into it and you try to time it and then you jump and catch it. It's very difficult. I did it once the whole time.
You also taught the neighbors that game.
I think since we all dance so much, and obviously Amy's character, Amy is a ballerina, I think we should have a dancing sequence at some point where we all do ballet or something.
A musical episode, perhaps?
No, not a musical episode, just like a random, like we're running into trouble, we go into this like ballet thing, and Barbara's the teacher, and we're just like pretending to be part of her class, and then we go and keep fighting crime.
I think that's a great season 9 idea. A great.
Or there's a villain that makes us dance, like in Midsommar, where like they can't stop dancing, like what's happening to us, and they like die of dehydration.
That's a great season 10 idea.
Noted.
So let me get to this question. Sabrina said, is there a chance Beth will get to work with an owl? We would really love to see that team up.
I would also love to see that. That's a question for Jeff.
There's always a chance. There's always a chance.
Always a chance. William asked, what would you all like to see next for your characters? Amy, are you still there?
I'm here. Jeff, I would be so okay with a superpower.
Season 11.
Yes.
Season 11.
At least give me a dream sequence superpower.
Well, there's a, well, I don't want to spoil anything for season 2, but because we're just breaking it right now.
Your superpower is your charm.
Aww.
Yes.
Thanks,
Being
Leah.
a mama.
You're also a mom. Being a mom is totally a superpower.
Listen, I totally agree with all you, but I want to fly. Have a ball, or
Noted.
What about the rest of you? What would you like to see with your characters?
I would like to see more of my castmates have like a love interest or a love story.
Ooh.
But like it doesn't have to be me. Like, no, Jeff. Like, I don't know. It doesn't have to be me. It's just everyone else. It'd be great.
Boys are evil. Okay. I would probably want just to see the dynamic of what happens with my family, just like how that comes together, just because the last time I spoke with them, they kind of was just like, nope, you're still in trouble. And then so just to see where, like, I've been out a lot, I've been helping Courtney a lot, just to see like how that whole thing is developing.
I would love, besides the relationship stuff, because the teenage girl in me will always want that in TV shows, but also the rivalry with Shiv. I just love their rivalry. I think it's so interesting. I keep saying this, but it reminds me of like Kim Possible and Shigo, and it's so catty and dynamic. I'd love to see more Stargirl and Shiv.
That's definitely happening.
Oh, good. Great.
Cameron.
I really want time with my dad, with Lou Jr. I met him on set, and I think he's such a wonderful guy, and I watched him film these scenes with my younger me. But I think it'd be so cool if there was like a reckoning scene, even if it was in Rick's head, where he gets to deal with like confronting his father, and his father seeing who he is now. And I think that'd be super cool, like connecting with his roots, even if it's a ghost or
Tasnim has a cool question. Angelica and Yvette, both of you are women of color playing superheroes and representing your respective communities. How important is this to you?
Well, for me, I think that, it's a known fact that Latinos are underrepresented in television. So it's really important. I feel like I'm one of the only Latina superheroes on TV. So to be able to be Latina and be a superhero, that's extremely important. I feel like a lot of people say this, but it's so cool to have little kids look up to you and say, hey, like, that could be me, or like, you know, follow their dreams. So I think it's extremely important, and I'm so glad I'm representing for the Latinx community.
Love that. Completely agree, Yvette, and you're doing an amazing job of being the role model and inspiration to others. For me as a Black woman, I'm just so grateful that I even just like Yvette, we get the opportunity to do this. Growing up, I never saw like a live action Black female superhero ever. So I'm just really excited for every Black and brown girl really to be able to see themselves through our cast, whether it be through me as Beth or Yvette as Yolanda. So I'm just really grateful and honored that we both get to share an amazing responsibility to be representation for young girls who look like us, so they know that like one day I could also be a superhero, and that there is no limit and there is no ceiling on any of your dreams.
Oh, wow. And thank you, Jeff, for writing these great characters.
Yes, thank you, Jeff.
They're all great. They're all great characters. We have a wonderful writer's room. They're wonderful characters, but you guys bring them to life. You really do, across the board.
Well, it all starts with you, so thank you. And there's one more. What other members of the JSA do you want to see join the new JSA?
Amy Smart. Barbara. Bring Barbara in. That's what I want.
Love it.
I want to see some closure with this pink pin. Like, bring me Jakeem. I need it for sure.
Yep.
Right.
I keep thinking of the Green Lantern just because the little lantern was flickering, like, you know, from the beginning. They go back to it a lot. So, I mean, that'd be cool.
I agree.
Oh, know what the best thing about this is that I'm so excited we get to do season 2 with everybody, because we do have so many other things to explore with these characters and other avenues and other characters that exist out in the world to meet and introduce, and we'll do it, you know, the best way we can, and we'll do it at our own pace, but we will definitely be playing with things like the pink pen in season 2.
Will you be making a cameo?
Yeah, please. That'd be so fun.
Just like a suited superhero that shows up for 1 second and just.
I'm super excited to watch you guys and write you great scripts.
And maybe direct an episode too.
Yeah, we'll see all about the timing right now. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm just excited I mean, it's a dream come true to be able to do this again with everybody here. Like, it's so exciting to me. All that other stuff is like gravy, you know, just because I love you guys. It's been the best experience of my life. And I'm just excited I get to spend more time with you. It's gonna be so fun.
Oh. Well, I think this is it. We need to thank the fans for getting everybody to season 2. So thank you guys for watching.
Thank you so much, everybody watching. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for watching. We love you. Okay.
It's so nice to see you guys. Yay!
Nice to
You
see you.
too, Leah.
Nice to see you.
Great seeing you guys.
Welcome to DC Fandom. I'm Robert Townsend, and today we've got a panel with the cast of Black Lightning, and it's all about the 90s. Bravo, let's get up out of here.
Last night I saw a superhero, he was black. He said, this is for the street, Black Lightning's back.
Let's meet the cast that's joining us today. He plays Gamby, and all I got to say about this guy is that he is a method actor. I mean, he sold suits to get this part. So please welcome none other, Mr. James Remar. How you doing today, James, how you feeling, man? How you feeling?
Hey, feeling good.
Now, this gentleman plays Painkiller. He's serious about his acting, but he's also serious about his fitness and exercising. This guy does 50,000 push-ups a day. Please welcome Jordan Holloway. I love your look, man. What are you sporting today? What you sporting?
Man, you know, we got the overalls and everything, got the good old bow hat. Can't forget the dad shades. You know.
This next gentleman in the cast, he's the bad guy you love to hate. I mean, because they wrote something in the script about his daddy, so you kind of love him, but you hate him. But he is a bad, bad boy. He plays Tobias Swell. Give it up to Marvin Jones the Third. Marvin, who you repping?
California for sure. I'm repping South Central, but most importantly, I'm repping the late great actor and rapper Tupacalypse now, Shakur.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. This next cast member, she plays Dr. Lynn Stewart. And her real superpower is that she can do 9 pages of dialogue and not miss a beat. Did you get that? Did you get that? Did you get that? Did you get that? Christine Adams, what you doing, girl?
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Thank you.
The next cast member, she plays Jennifer. She is the baby of the bunch. She started acting when she was 1 year old, doing Shakespeare in the Park. Please welcome Chyna and Mclean.
Yay!
What's good? Tell me about your top. I love your top. What is that top?
It's a great clothing line called My Sister's Closet. Look at that.
Yellow.
All right. All right. Our next cast member, she plays Thunder and she plays Blackbird. She goes far with this character. She robbed a few drug dealers to get into the mind of Blackbird. So please welcome Anissa Williams.
Hey, y'all. What's going on, Robert? Woo!
Girl, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I can't complain.
I like your look. I like your look. What are you TLC? What's your vibe?
So, I'm giving y'all a little bit of Aaliyah, TLC,
Yes.
bamboo earrings, long nails.
Our last cast member plays the title character, Black Lightning. What can I say about this man? He is so committed to fighting crime. He sleeps in his Black Lightning costume. Williams, how you doing, baby boy? How you doing, man?
I'm chafed. I'm chafed because I'm sleeping in that costume.
You guys ready to play this game? It's 90s.
Yeah.
It's everything 90s. Are y'all ready? 90s.
Ready.
Did your homework. You ready? Okay, first question. First question, because we're going to go through many questions. This is the first question, ladies and gentlemen. In 1991, what was Halle Berry's first movie in 1991?
Oh, can I think I know.
Oh, okay. This is
It's Boomerang?
no.
No, Jungle Fever.
Well, you can't answer twice. You got it wrong.
Do you know?
All right. Here's the next question. In what U.S. city in 1996 were the Olympic Games played?
Is that Atlanta?
Oh,
For real?
the next question. Now this is for anybody. Who was the first woman to win the MVP for the WNBA?
Oh.
Lisa Leslie?
Lisa Leslie?
What is Cynthia Cooper?
Yes, Cynthia Cooper. Oh.
I know my female basketball players.
Okay, Jordan.
Okay, I'm gonna throw this one to the youngsters of the bunch because this is gonna be a hard one.
Okay.
Where was Will Smith's Fresh Prince character originally from?
Philadelphia.
What is Alabama? Philly.
This one is kind of hard for everybody. In the 90s, what was the highest grossing movie? I'm gonna give you clues.
I don't. Is it the Titanic?
Yeah.
I was gonna say Titanic. I've never
I
actually
could have
seen
guessed that one. Shoot.
Go ahead, Celine.
You know what? All these questions, we do have a winner, and the winner is Christine. Mama in the
Lynn
house.
Stewart, winning the brains again, not just a pretty face.
Give a cyber round of applause.
I'll clap.
Let me say this about Black Lightning. It's having a major impact all across the world. Know that your work really matters on a whole nother level, because sometimes in show business, we can just be, artists on a show, and the show is just funny, or the show is silly, or the show is goofy. It's another thing to have a show that really has real issues in it that impact people that last a lifetime. So it's entertainment, but it's also education. So bravo to the cast. Round of applause.
Thank you.
We talk about superheroes, but superheroes come in all shapes and forms. And this is for everybody in the cast. Who was the first superhero to make an impact on you? And that can be real or fiction. Like if I was to say for me, in 5th grade, there was a teacher named James Reed. And that teacher was the first one in 5th grade to believe in me and say, you could do something with your life. And I named the character in Meteor Man after him, James Reed.
Oh, wow.
So that's my real connection. So who was that first hero?
My 8th grade English teacher was a man by the name of John Eartha. And one day I was misbehaving in class, and John Eartha brought me over, and I had to sit next to him, and he put his shoe on the chair. He was a big guy, and that was kind of his way of letting you know that if you moved around, he was going to kick your butt. Public school, he never touched anybody. He was just a very intimidating presence. And he asked the class, who knows who Prometheus was? And nobody knew who Prometheus was, but I had a love of Greek mythology when I was a kid, and I raised my hand, and he looked down and he said, all right, let me know. And I told him that Prometheus brought fire to humanity. He was the god of foresight. He was very impressed with me, that answer. And so he let me out of the dungeon, and he invited me to his summer camp where I learned about being an actor. And John Eartha was the only Black teacher in my hometown. And he was my mentor, and he's the reason I became an actor.
Wow. Beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful. Jordan, I'm going to go to you.
The number one has to go to my mom and pops. And I mean, Robert, you know my dad. I mean, he's your DP back over at Parenthood, and that's where I started. I mean, and that's when I first got into acting. Started off as being an extra. And I mean, just seeing my dad's work ethic and how he treated his crew as the DP, how he treated the cast. And then my mom, because when I was a child actor, there was somebody that was driving me to those cattle calls, driving me over to West LA. And you know who it was? She was also taking me to my baseball games and everything else. So that's my Wonder Woman. And yeah, so mama and pops.
My parents have been the ones to teach me everything that I really needed to know, because it's hard. It's hard growing up in this industry, and it's easy to get off track. But when you have parents that aren't hyping you up exactly, but giving you just the tools that you need from the foundation to be able to handle all of this, because it's a big responsibility, and it's, like I said, it's very difficult as a young person to get caught up in it. So they're the ones who've always been with me, and I know that they always will, and they taught me that God is the one that gives me my opportunities. It's not from getting hired and getting this and it's from him. So that's what makes me not afraid to be able to stand up for myself and do those things. So yeah, it's all them.
Christine.
Yeah, my mum, really. Single mum, teenage mum, in a country, didn't speak the language. I honestly, now I'm a parent, I don't even understand how she did that on her own. And she always told me that I could do anything. She never, ever, ever crushed my dream. She drove me to my theatre club. There was no doubt in her mind that I could be whatever I want. And I think that's such a powerful message for a child. So definitely mum, but I also do want to give a shout out to Diane Carroll. When I saw her on Dynasty at the age of 10 or 12, let's say, I had never seen someone so poised, elegant, regal, intelligent, fierce, I'd never seen that before. I'd never seen any Black actress like that before in my life. So Diane Carroll and my mum.
I love it. I love it. Marvin, I'm going to go to you, Cap.
I had a teacher in the 7th grade named Mr. Sherman, and he poured so much positivity into me in regards to my intellect, so much to where he gave me a subject that was World War II and allowed me to study that subject in such depth that he allowed me to teach a course on it in 7th grade and teach my class. I was able to hold the class one day. And it really spoke to who I am today, you know, as an orator, why I ended up rapping, why I ended up getting on stages, why I ended up now being on television. It really gave me that power. And to look beyond the limitations that, you know, the world had set before me.
Wow. Nafisa.
The first thing that came to my mind was my grandmother, who rest her soul. We were really, she wasn't just my grandmother, she was my friend. And that was really important for me as a kid. But she taught me to be kind and God-fearing. And that is something that has carried me throughout my life that I appreciate. So my grandmother first, right? And then I think about why I wanted to be on TV. It was Felicia Rashad on The Cosby Show. I was a really little girl, and I was watching this brown woman who looked like me, whose hair was similar to mine, and who was sassy and independent, and she was strong, and she had her own career. That was like the first vision for me on TV, and I wanted to be her. I wanted to, like, I would fantasize that I was on The Cosby Show because of her.
Press, I'm gonna go to you, man.
I had an acting mentor in college. Actually, the first one, he's always, I consider him my mentor. His name was Tom Blank. He was like kind of a surrogate father, but also a champion for me as an actor. But I always go back to Sidney Poitier because, and I didn't even realize it, you know, when you're a kid, you don't realize it. You're just watching it, and always what came through was power and dignity. Everything he stepped into on the screen is, I'm a human being. And therefore I deserve to be here. Like I breathe like everyone else, so therefore I deserve to be at the table.
Robert, you know, to have someone like you on our sets, as someone who has opened those doors and has so much experience and has really been there at the forefront, yourself, Bill Duke, that to me is like, without sounding corny, like you're living heroes to us because you open those doors and you are producers, you're directors, you're writers, you're creators. You've always had that vision that we as Black creators can do everything and we should do everything and we don't need the permission of Hollywood to get things done. So the audience really, when they see you, when they see Bill and some of the other great veteran actors we've had on the show, that means something. You know, you're icons. So just know that we also consider, I think I'm speaking for everyone, but know that we also consider.
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. For me, high school, if I could tell, we walked around quoting Hollywood Shuffle on a regular. If I can tell, I'm serious. Like, it was like part of our vernacular at that point. I mean, just continuously, and watched it so many times. Oh,
let me say thank you for all that love, because you know, as artists, on the real tip, as artists, it's always been about raising the bar. My mentor when I first got to Hollywood is Sidney Poitier. So it's between Sidney and Harry Belafonte. So it's always about raising the bar. So when I look at what you guys are doing, you do me proud on so many levels, because there is a generation of kids and adults that are learning how to navigate life better because of the life lessons that are in this series. So many people across the world need inspiration and they need hope. And I just want to ask this one simple question. Can you give me one key to success that has made you successful?
Everybody's beliefs are their own, 100%. But what's gotten me through this industry is God, period. Point blank, period. Because when you enter this industry, and not to mention being Black and also a female, you can't fear this industry. You can't fear not continuing to get work or not being able to get work because you're not willing to compromise your morals and your values. You cannot be scared of that, because if you're scared of that, trust me, you're going to end up in a place that you never wanted to be. And that part is not a part of your dream. It's not a part of it. So God has made me unafraid.
It's literally about finding your purpose and literally living in your dream. I believe that's the way to success. That is happiness.
I would just, in one word, I would just say faith. You know, have faith in the unseen, you know, and know that it's on its way.
You know, young actors ask me, you know, what do you do? How do you do this? And I've been asked that many, many times over the years. And I try to keep it real simple. And the best tool and the best advice that I can offer them is to look them in the eye and tell the truth.
Amen. That's right.
Determination, not quitting, continuing, especially in the industry. Yeah, don't give up and continue.
You know, we are meant to be eternal creatures. And so if you're thinking in the realm of eternity, there's a lot of these things that I toss away because they're not, I'm like, okay, will that mean anything in the realm of eternity? And when you can do that, then you can toss away a lot of the distractions and things that don't really matter, that the world may want you to get caught up on, that keep you off your path.
Right now we are in quarantine, and it's been months and months and months. And we also have Black Lives Matter. So the world is upside down. Quarantine has been a really beautiful thing for me because I've read more books that I didn't have time to read before. I've written a couple of things, and I've kind of taken time to kind of like reset. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful time to reset. Some people are freaking out, you know, and I understand. But I just wanted everybody to weigh in on the state of the world in this current configuration. Any thoughts that anybody has about anything?
One of the things that has happened in this last few months is I think it's focused all of us in terms of what matters, what has meaning, what's important, how do I spend my time, who do I spend my time with, what kind of time is it? And I think as a culture and as a community and as a globe, we needed to do that. We needed to stop for a second. Then for whatever reason, when we all stopped, we all witnessed the horrendous killing of George Floyd. And I think in that moment, there was nowhere else for anywhere to look. We all had to look. We all had to pay attention. So as hard as this moment is for everyone, I know it's hard for everyone. Trust me, I'm the world's most positive person and I'm struggling right now. Despite the sort of poison that we're being exposed to, I believe that human compassion, kindness, we have that above all else. I don't ever think, you know, people that fought, like John Lewis, who we just lost, you know, in his lifetime, I don't think he ever thought he would see as many white people on a civil rights march as Black people. That's, something's happening, something's changing, and I don't want to stop fighting, and we won't stop fighting, and I feel like something is happening to us as a society that is profoundly important, and I'm excited. I'm scared. But I'm also excited about what that could be.
I never thought that I would see something like this happen in my lifetime, honestly. I had to talk to my grandfather because my grandfather marched with Martin Luther King Jr. So the fact that he got to see this kind of again, something like this again, was very shocking for him. And it's been kind of overwhelming for me, to be honest. But I don't think that it was a coincidence that this quarantine hit and then, you know what I'm saying? All of the Black Lives Matter, all of this stuff started happening in our community. Don't think that it's a coincidence at all.
Well, it was interesting when the quarantine first started going down, and, you know, a week felt like a month. I mean, it was like, time was like, it was brutal. It was brutal. And then George Floyd and everything blew up. And it almost like illuminated the opportunity even more. I'm encouraged but I don't want the work to stop. Like I feel like in the past, I feel like we're here because we did a certain amount of work and then stopped. And I want to see us push through and see that work to completion.
I've seen how there has been selfishness and I've seen selflessness. And in growing during this time, I feel like I've progressed more to the selfless in ways that you can help, or in just being educated and understanding the shoes that other people walk in. And when you see that, when you actually take the time out after you've watched everything that you can, because I mean, look at that. That's a blessing. The fact that we have things to keep us distracted. That we call that, we say we're so blessed, we're so great, America. I mean, like, yo, before America thought we couldn't get touched. Newsflash.
I'm dropping the mic.
I mean,
that is it.
Man, social change takes place inch by inch. It is slow. But like Dr. said, the moral arc of the universe bends towards justice.
Amen.
I'm done.
Okay, so here's a question. This is a question for everybody in the cast.
Yeah.
Why do you think people love this show so much?
Speaks truth to power. Power meaning the state of our government, even though we're in a fictitious world. I think it aligns a lot of times with the current times. And it speaks to the people who are actually living that. The peoples in the Black communities. You see a lot that's the truth of our experience, and it's done in such a way that's fantabulous, if that's even a word. And it I think it resonates not just with our community, but with every community, because it has such dignity and integrity.
And also it's a good time for a lot of people to learn about our experience.
We stay true to the moment of what's happening, that people are able to use our show as a mirror. Yeah. And like Chyna said, learn from that.
This show, out of the superhero shows, it feels real.
We provide that hope, not just through superheroes saving the day, but also making difficult choices that are morally correct choices.
Let's talk about next season. Let's have a discussion about next season. And this is for everybody. Where would you want to see your characters go? Like, is there something in particular? I mean, you guys have tackled a lot of themes and a lot of subject matter. Is there anything that, you would go like, man, I want Celine to think about this. I want to think about that. Is there anything you would think about for your character?
I would really like to not be drunk or on drugs or with my hand down a toilet or slapping my husband or fighting with my husband or, crawling along the floor.
But, can I say something to you? You are absolutely brilliant when you go into that other zone and you get twisted, because, when I was on set, you broke my heart in that bedroom. When you and y'all were going at each other, I thought y'all were fighting for real. And you were like, no, I'm on the green stuff right now. And you went into that zone. So it's amazing to watch you as an actress, but I think you're showing your range on a whole nother
Thank
frequency.
you so much. No, I feel I'm so lucky that I get this great material to play. I have no complaints as an actor.
Jordan, talk to me. You've been alive, you've been dead, you got powers. Where would you like to go, man? Where would you like to go?
The change and the growth that I would love to see for Khalil is more so the psychological recovering, the mental state that he would have to go through, what that journey looks like.
James, I'm going to go to you. Gambi, what would you like to see Gambi? Where do you want him to go? He's an interesting guy to me because he's like this genius of genius. I mean, is there another layer that you would want the world to see in Gambi?
I'd like to see Gambi be revealed as having a meta power of his own that is here to unknown. Wow. I'd like to see Gambi maybe have a girlfriend.
I would like to see that too.
Gambi had a kid that he reunites with, having not seen him for 25 years or something.
Nafisa, what do you think? Where do you want to go with your character? I mean, because you got dual personalities already. What are you thinking?
So I like the idea of Salim always staying relevant and staying true to what's going on. So I definitely want to see some of what's happening in our world and some of what's happening today. I just want us to always stay on trim with that. And knowing Salim, we will.
Marvin, where do you want Tobias to go? What's in his diabolical mind, or do you want to flip the script on us?
I would like to flip the script a little bit. I'd like to get him back into politics, you know, from outside of the underworld, back into the mainstream of society, and hopefully doing some good, which I'm sure it'll end up being for his own narcissistic gain, and it'll be for the bad ultimately in the end. But I would like for a time to be doing some good in freedom, and then hopefully, I know you and I got a chance to play around with love with the character and give him a love interest and see how far he could take it. But that was short-lived. I'd like to raise the stakes with that and do something that's, you know, not more permanent, but more serious. And we can see the backstory of it develop.
But I want Marvin to have it all, or Tobias to have it all, so that when Khalil comes to take it away.
Oh my God.
Anybody
wants to take mine away.
I ain't forgot. I just want to put that out there.
Last season, was that the first times that Lynn and Tobias started to work, were in scene together?
I mean, that was the first time Tobias interacted with everybody, and it wasn't volatile. Black Lightning came to try to rescue me. I was working with Lynn. Lynn knocked me out, so let me shut up with that. And then I was sent back into my asylum.
Chris, I'm gonna go to you. Where do you see Jefferson going? I mean, this man has fought the community, fought everybody, stands righteous, gets a little confused. Where do you think he could go?
Well, what I would like, honestly, is to get back to the school. I'd like to get back into the school, get back into mentoring kids. That's probably the thing I'm most proud of is the educational aspect of the show.
The audience has a lot of questions for you guys. And, you know, so we want to open this fandom up for them to questions. And so do some of you guys have questions the audience has asked you to read?
I have one.
Okay. Where's it from?
From Mona in Australia, actually.
Oh.
Is Jennifer going into the other dimensions again for the Crisis on Infinite Earths this season? Oh, Lord. I actually have no idea. We have no idea, just to be completely honest with you, what's in store for the next season. So I really don't know. I don't know if you're going to see the other Jennifers. I'm not sure, but I kind of hope so because it was really fun to be able to play them.
I have a question here from Asante in the United States. She asked, will we see Black Lightning interact with other superheroes more often now that everyone's on the same planet? And is there a possibility of Henderson being revived? I would like to. I mean, honestly, as a nerd, seeing the whole table of superheroes, like, I got chills, and it would be cool to be like Justice League out. You know, that would be awesome. So I would love for that to happen. As far as Henderson, you know, I don't know. I was not a fan of him going. So I mean, that still sucks, to be perfectly honest.
I got a question though, Robert. I just got one from Lynn in France who asked, will we see more Jen and Khalil in the next season? I don't know. I mean, she kind of left me high and dry on a roof.
You have a cot in my place, buddy. I have to answer a question from Fofo in Canada. She's asking if Grace will have her own costume made by Gambi in season 4.
Oh, please.
Good one. Wow.
Oh my God.
That would be fire.
That's a good one.
It would be an honor and a privilege to create a costume for Grace. If that's what the creatives choose to do on the writing side of it, she sure will.
I do have a question from Karina in France, and she wants to know, will we ever see Anissa and Grace get married on the show?
Whoa, that would be beautiful.
We almost did it, we crashed. We almost did.
I messed it up.
Yeah, I would like to see that happen, especially for the fans, and we'll see. You know, our love is kind of complicated. I was trying to tie the knot. Didn't happen. So we'll see. I would like to see it and see where that love could go.
I got a question from Melissa in Canada. She wants to know if Tobias Well and some more bad guys are going to try to come and take over Freeland. I hope so. You know, I miss Cyanide a lot. I hope I can. I hope I can pay Gamby to give me some kind of serum to bring her back or something. I can make a deal with old Gams.
There ain't enough money in the world
to bring her back, you know, because she sure was a good partner in crime, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a wonderful time with all of you. I want to give a cyber round of applause to the cast of Black Lightning.
Thank you.
And let me just say this. This has been truly a treat to be with you guys, and I see why the show is successful, but then when the audience gets to meet your spirits and see who you are as people, I think it elevates the show to an even higher level. So thank you so much for participating today, and to everybody out there, please continue to support and watch DC Fandom. Signing off. Round of applause.
Hello, everyone out there at Fandome. This is Jim Lee. I am the publisher and chief creative officer at DC, and I'm super excited to be hosting this panel about an upcoming new show called Superman and Lois. Today with me, I have Todd Helbing, who is the writer, numero uno badass on the production. Hey, Todd, good to see you again.
Hello, hey, Jim, good to see you.
And we have Clark and Lois. Well, we have Superman and Lois, Tyler Hoechlin, and Elizabeth Tulloch. Welcome.
Thanks, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Yeah, so let's just jump into it. We got a lot of questions. I have my own personal questions as a huge fan of the show, of the characters, and then I believe some fans are going to ask some questions. You guys actually might be asking each other some questions here at the end too. So everyone will get a participation medal at the end. So anyway, so Superman was obviously the first superhero, and he's had some amazing TV shows over the years. As a kid, I watched the George Reeves black and white Superman one where he kind of jumped out a window onto a mattress on the other side.
Yeah.
And obviously there have been shows since then. Todd, can you talk a little bit about how this show is going to be different from previous incarnations, adaptations, what you're doing differently that hasn't been done before, and just kind of, tease it out a little bit? I know you can't share too much right now.
The main way that we're going to make this a little different is that Clark and Lois are married in this version. And they're not only married, they have 2 teenage boys. Yes,
these guys look way too young to have teenage kids.
Yeah, well, we lean into that because Clark Kent does not really age that much.
You gotta look close, but the grays are coming in. They're there. Don't worry, they're there.
Yeah, when Tyler's gonna be shaving, he's been clean shaven every no. But yeah, I think as a father, who happens to have 2 boys, that felt like a really great way to bring in some personal experience and just to tell really a story that is as grounded as you can possibly be to have Superman in it. And as a couple, we really get to lean into Clark and Lois not being Superman and the most or famous journalists in the world, but really as parents, like what is that like when you have jobs like that, which can really a lot of people can relate to nowadays, to a lot of families that have 2 working parents, and all the complexities and difficulties that come with having jobs like that. And then with 2 boys, how, as parents, speaking from experience, my boys are wildly different. And so we wanted to present 2 kids that had completely different skill sets. And how do you deal with that as parents?
And I don't know if you can or if you feel comfortable revealing this just yet, right? But there's a reason where in which Clark and Lois moved back to Smallville. That's a big piece of.
Yeah, I'm not going to give
production?
a reason yet, but the story of Superman has taken place in Metropolis for very long. Obviously, there was a Smallville series, but I came from a small town in the Midwest, and the town that I grew up in had a business leave that sort of affected everybody in the town, and the town started to slowly dry up, and it felt very current with recent years after 2008. So we wanted to tell a story where you have the parents, after this tragic event happens, move back to Smallville and really find that it's easier to raise kids maybe in a place where life isn't so hectic as it is in Metropolis.
Let's talk a little. I have a really nerdy question, right? So at the end of the Crisis on Infinite Earths, they basically brought Superman and Lois into Earth Prime with all the other characters. What role is that going to play in your future telling, in your future storytelling?
Well, for all the fans that watched, at the end of the last, or the beginning of the last crossover, Clark and Lois had a little infant boy named Jonathan, and the worlds merged and everything gets rewritten. And the end of the crossover is Lois calling Clark saying that he has to get home because there's a problem with the boys. So we took Crisis as an opportunity to really age up and change things for them as parents, age up the boys, or create two boys, fraternal twins, and make them teenagers when things really get complicated for parents. So I think just Crisis in general really gave us an opportunity to start with a blank slate and tell the story in a way that we couldn't have otherwise.
Tyler, Bitsy, how do you guys feel like, before you're Superman, you're the ultimate hero, right? Lois Lane, you're the ultimate, most famous journalist in all the world, right? And now you're parents to these kids, like, the judging that will be going on in terms of your parenting styles, like it's a whole different dimension, right? Not only do you have to be amazing superheroes, amazing journalists that have to uphold their ethics and fight for truth. On top of it, you now have two teenage boys that are running amok in a small town. Like, is there stuff that you can draw upon to kind of help tell this story from your own childhood or your extended family?
Well, I mean, I am a mom. I have a 17-month-old, and I feel like she's already judging me on a daily basis. So I'm just kind of used to it. She's a big fan of my husband right now in particular. She's definitely a daddy's girl. But I do think that it's one of the things, especially about Lois, is that she doesn't really compromise her sense of self or her goals. And so I think one thing that I think she butts up against, and obviously Superman does too, is being really dedicated to our careers and our jobs, because we're doing this for good and we believe in what we're doing. And Lois wants to change the world with words, and Superman does it with his power. But also, how much is that alienating and our kids, and how good can you really be at your job if you have two teenage boys who are hormonal and who each have very disparate needs? So I think that's part of what, for me anyway, was really compelling and was so exciting when I found out that it was going to be older kids, like teenagers, because it is so complicated and they are going to be going through a lot. And, I've read 2 scripts now, and I find that the storyline with the sons really, really compelling.
They definitely get harder as they get older, but
yeah, I don't have the direct experience of parenting yet. I have six nieces and nephews now. My older brother and sister have gone ahead and taken care of that for mom and dad. So I've been at least kind of seeing it from the uncle lens and watching them grow up. But just the idea, I think noticing my dad in how often he was gone at work. He's a doctor, works in the emergency room. He had a private practice, and so balancing that with having 4 kids at home, see him do that, and being older now and realizing how much time is taken up by working towards a career, by providing and just doing those things, even just for myself. It's a perspective shift for me to look back at how he was able to do that. So those are things that I'll definitely be drawing on, just to see, how you're able to to wear both hats in that situation, to to be a good parent and to be a working parent. It's a tricky situation, so it's no small feat.
So Tyler, do you feel that extra level of pressure? I would imagine just playing Superman in general, you have to, embody all these like virtuous, aspects, and I'm sure people come up to you all the time and call you Superman. I assume, like, when you get that call, like, does your life change? Well, I guess after the first episode airs, it changes, right? I mean, can you talk a little bit about that kind of change in your career and life?
I think it's just there's a heightened awareness. I think when we were on the set, there was one moment that always stands out. We were on a set, and I've been on sets before where there's fans around and they want to meet the actors or something, but to be there and to be in the Superman suit and to have a parent bring their 5 and 6 year olds up to the thing to say, hey, can they meet Superman? That's a thing where you do realize that, at that point, the parent might know who you are as the actor, but to the kids, sure, you're just Superman. You're wearing the suit, and that's all they know. So I think that's the thing that changes the most, is just that awareness of when you're around kids. And I think that's what's so great about this character, and what I love about it is that what he stands for really just kind of grabs onto such an impressionable audience. These kids who look at him as a hero and all the things that he stands for. It's something that does make me really excited about getting to play this character.
I don't know if you guys were fans of DC Comics or Superman and Lois before you guys got these assignments. I assume you've been to Comic-Con now. Busy, you were talking about how your heart starts pumping before they call your name and you go out in that panel. Can you share some thoughts about Comic-Con, or some stories about Comic-Con, and sort of interacting with the passionate fan base that are here watching us, online?
I remember the first time we did Comic-Con for Grimm, because Grimm premiered in the fall of 2011. They showed the whole pilot, and because it hadn't aired yet, people kind of didn't know who we were for the most part. So that was my favorite year, because we were able to kind of walk around and interact with people. I always enjoyed it. It was a very long day, but I remember my favorite time was the first time we went, when we were actually like able to kind of get into it with people.
Yeah, it's just a different experience. I think when you meet somebody who's a fan of a different show, it's a completely different experience than when someone comes up as a fan of Superman. And I think a lot of that has to do with the legacy of it as well. It goes back so far, and there's been so many people to do it. It's this long-standing tradition of this character and what he means. It might mean one thing to the 5-year-old you're meeting, but to their dad or to their mom, who also knew the character when they were 5 and is still a fan, it's such a wide range of impressions that have been made over the decades that it's just it's a different kind of experience.
I would think Superman feels particularly conflicted, because obviously he has the responsibilities to his family, the woman he loves, the children he's trying to raise, but he's also he belongs to the world, right? He's the world's champion, and that demand and need for that type of character in the world takes him away from his family, right? So he's got to be extremely conflicted in his personal responsibilities to his family, and then this other responsibility to really kind of help lead the world to a better place, right?
I feel like there's an interesting thing going on, and it's not like it's a brand new situation, but just over the years, it's been this thing where what we do in our professional lives and our work lives does require so much more. And I think that that's something about Superman, is that there is so much needed of him. It's when do you turn it off? When is it okay to turn it off? When is enough? Because you do have other things in your life that might be in a different way. It's not as macro, it might be more micro. Doesn't make it any less important. These are the people that count on you for something that only you can fulfill within that structure of a family. So it's one of the things I'm most excited about diving into in this show, is as a parent, how do you balance that need of something that you spent your young adult years and the rest of your adult life before you were a parent putting all your effort into? How do you know how and when to scale that back to put that time into the family? And so it's a unique challenge that I'm sure everybody faces going through that. So I'm excited at least to tap into that part of it.
So on top of this challenge between, this personal challenge between Clark and Lois and their family, Todd, can you talk a little bit about as they go to Smallville, kind of the other elements of the other members of the supporting cast of Superman that you kind of want to activate and bring into the fold. You know, we were talking the other day about how love triangles are really important in the Superman mythology, you know, starting with the first, which is Superman, Lois, and Clark, right before Lois figured out his secret identity.
Yeah, well, I think it's fun to when they go back that Lana Lang is there. You know, Lana was Clark's first love, and I think it's an interesting dynamic as an adult how you deal with that relationship. You know, and you know, it can't be Superman. We don't want Clark Kent ever having an affair on Lois. There's not that situation. That's never going to happen. You know, he's as good as they get.
She shouldn't know that. No,
Well, yeah. It's also like we don't want like, you know, Lois and Lana brawling in the, you know, but that dynamic as an adult is really interesting to us. You know, those feelings are impossible to ignore. And I think that that's a real thing for some people, especially when kids are involved. And then to see her husband and her kids and that dynamic, there's a couple characters that we invented, Kyle Cushing, her husband, and Sarah Cushing, who gets sort of wrapped up with the boys, and then they have their own love triangle. And then a character that I think is really interesting is General Lane, Lois's father, and his relationship with the two of them. You know, he sees Superman as he's a very military guy, so he sort of looks at Superman like his soldier, and so and his relationship with Lois is a little fraught because of the way that he took his job when he was a parent versus the way that Clark is doing his job. So all of that messiness is really fun.
It's not just about the ultimate superhero and Lois Lane leading a family and those kind of challenges and responsibilities. There's true superhero action as well. You know, it's more than just a show about this new unusual nuclear family stuck in a small town and them having to figure out those issues. It is at its heart a show about superheroes and supervillains too.
Yeah, so I think, look, there's a lot of set pieces, there's a lot of heroics, but to us, what's just as interesting is when Superman goes out and saves the day, or he's fighting a villain, or he's stopping a nuclear reactor from exploding. Lois is out there hunting a different sort of villain and using her superpowers to be just as effective, and you see them as a team, kind of this unstoppable force, which is a lot of fun to play.
So Todd, I know you have two young boys, and apparently they draw a lot, which is awesome. But I heard that they struggle a little with like drawing Superman's shield, right?
Yeah, yes. They're both very artistic, but yeah, that's like the thorn in their side.
All right, so I'm going to just share with you a little secret that another artist told me back in the day. An artist named John Byrne, who's like one of my favorite comic book creators. He had a very long run on Superman, but he basically looked at it as a diamond, obviously the symbol, with two fish swimming in opposite directions. So you're drawing the negative space rather than the S. If you try to draw the S, it's really challenging, but if you just draw the two fish, the S miraculously appears. So I'm gonna see if I can do that here.
Awesome.
So wait, we're gonna do it, right? Are we all doing it?
You guys
awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I got my kids' crayons.
Yeah, this is fantastic. A draw line. All right, now,
right.
now the
good.
pressure's on. I gotta.
Yeah.
Let's see, Tyler. You guys have to come through for me here. All right.
All right.
Tyler, you have paper too?
Yeah, we got stuff, man.
Oh, fantastic. All right, I've got my board here. All right, so actually the hardest part now, it will probably be to draw the diamond, right? So do that. So you draw the diamond first.
Yeah.
It's okay. All right.
Okay.
And now
Sure.
here's the part. You draw a fish. And then you draw the other fish. All right. Okay. So, and then right above that fin, you draw like a little diamond shape there.
Oh my God, mine's so bad.
And another little
Mine's not
diamond
great
underneath
either.
that bottom fish.
Okay. Is that it? Is that the thing?
So this is the starting point. Obviously, it's not quite the S symbol, but what it gets you to is a point where you go, okay, now I can see that S, right? And so if I'm doing this in pencil, you come all the way down here and you just basically hook it up like that, right? And then this S, it actually goes like this, right?
I should have brought an eraser, like a better eraser.
I'm drawing with a Sharpie. So I'm just going to fill this in so you can kind of see the S kind of appear. They actually look more like whales than fish. This top one looks more like a whale. That looked pretty close. Oh, and then another little line goes up here. Okay.
There. Okay, hang on, almost there.
I'm so curious to see what you guys have drawn. It really helps mentally to think about the negative shapes rather than the S that you're drawing itself.
This is embarrassing.
Oh, that's not
great.
bad.
Oh my God.
That's not great, Jim. No.
That's fantastic.
I think I was off to like a real hot start, and then the bottom fish got me.
Oh wow, awesome.
Oh,
That's
Bitches is great.
Wow. And you have the colored markers too. It's fantastic.
I stole my daughter's crayons.
Nice, very nice.
Better than her eating them.
This is gonna have to improve over time, but
Let's see.
I don't know what happened. Where it happened? Where'd it go?
Dude, that's awesome. These are both
That's great, man.
All of them.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. Here, let's put
Oh,
them all up.
that's
There we
what
go.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
hang
there
on.
you
I see
Hold
now.
it up.
go. What? You didn't see the fish before?
No, I
Dude,
saw the
what
fish before. I see this thing on the side. There we go.
My proportions are really off.
There we go. There we go. Ta-da.
Tyler,
There we
your bottom was like a little guppy.
Yeah, little goldfish.
Right.
All right,
So
go
if you
team.
know this, every time you see the Superman symbol, it's hard not to see the fish instead of the S. Anyway, but hopefully kids and fans all around the world will be sitting down trying to put this all together, and hopefully they can share some of this on social. All right, so Todd, we have some fan questions. What Superman story stood out the most to you that made you want to play these characters? Was there a seminal moment where you were first introduced to the Superman mythology that made you a Superman or Lois or DC fan?
You know, it's funny. It's not that there's like one particular moment. I've never seen the TV shows. I've seen snippets of it, but I've never seen. I worked with Erica Durance last year. She's amazing. I love her, but I haven't seen Smallville. I've seen the Christopher Reeve films with Margot Kidder, and I love them so much. And I think one of the things that I always found really memorable was this. She didn't know who he was, but like on some level, did she? There was something about the way I felt like Margot Kidder played it, or maybe I'm projecting, where it feels like, and part of the reason they're such a good couple and they love each other so much is that she just kind of gets him. And you know, I just remember moments where she was kind of looking at him quizzically, and I'm like, wait, does she know? Or does she just sort of understand something about him and who he is and what he represents? And like, you know, going back to what I was saying earlier on, I think part of the reason Lois is the perfect woman for Clark is that she gets why Superman is so important for the world, and she is happy to make the sacrifice as far as one-on-one time and family time as a result.
For me, I would say kind of the same thing. It wasn't a particular story. Really, for me, what it was when I went and met with Greg originally to do the couple episodes of Supergirl in the first place. You know, I sat and watched the first season of Supergirl, and I think it hit me at the right time in life. And I think there was an environment at the time that felt like we needed a little bit of hope. We needed a little bit of optimism. And I feel like I had also just kind of been coming out of a cynical phase of life. I went through those years and tried seeing the world through that lens, and I didn't enjoy it very much. So for me, it was just kind of seeing that show and seeing that. I think I felt as if it was a chance for me to jump into something hopeful and optimistic. I think what also goes along with the reality of the situation of where we are today is that you do need hope that we will get to the other side of it and that we will find a way through it. So kind of credit that to that first season of Supergirl, watching those guys.
All right, guys. A couple fan questions. Start first with, who are the Superman and Lois in your own lives? And how do your Superman and Lois influence your portrayal of your respected characters in this universe?
I would say just, for what influences me playing Lois Lane, especially playing Lois Lane right now at a moment in history where the profession of journalism is a little bit under siege, is just every journalist ever who is busting their butt right now and coming under heavy fire from both sides and a lot of media scrutiny and everything, and the fact that they're still showing up and doing their jobs.
Yeah, I second that with you. I think anyone who strives to tell the truth in the face of whatever consequences that holds, I think those are some of the most incredible, respectable people, and I think Lois falls in that category. For me, anyone can be Superman. I think what makes Superman to me, in my eyes, is that someone who, without fail, chooses to do the right thing and all the good that they can do. And that's really what it is. And whether that's, saving one person from crossing the street, whether that's saving a falling skyscraper as Superman would do that saves everyone in the building, it's the quality of the efforts and the works, not the quantity. It's not how huge they are, it's just how impactful they are to one person.
So Tyler Hecklin, 2 questions. What was it like putting on the suit for the first time? And the second half of the question is, are we going to see Superman get a new suit in this new version?
Yes, I think putting the suit on for the first time, everything about this, there's been so many times where there's been kind of a surreal moment, but I think putting on the suit for the first time was the most surreal moment, just because any other time that you would be wearing that suit is probably on Halloween, and that's about it. Otherwise, I don't know why you're putting it on or why you have one in the first place. So I think putting it on and actually seeing it and realizing this is not just for a day, we're going to shoot this, we're going to tell a story that involves this character. I don't think that it's sunk in, and if it hasn't by now, it probably never will to some weird degree. But I think being the one wearing it as opposed to seeing someone else in it is a different experience.
Like, the symbol itself is so incredibly iconic that I remember when I first started shooting on the show, and it was Elseworlds, and there was a scene with Oliver and the Flash and Grant Gustin and I both were like, we couldn't keep it together when you're wearing a plaid shirt and when you rip it open and it's the S. Like, we probably had to do that take quite a few times because everyone's reaction, and like Lois should be used to this, and even I was like
That was a really funny day on set. But that scene, I remember that when we did it and I ripped the shirt up. That's why I said it's different, I think, when you're doing it as opposed to watching someone else do that or being in that. Because when I do it, there's almost a moment of, it's been done before, and you know what it means. So you're like, is the way I'm doing it weird? Does it look right? I don't really know. But I remember Grant on that take. It was the push in, and thank God, like, the camera pushed in, and it had gone just into the S by the time he did this. But when I ripped the shirt open, I just remember Grant going, oh! Off screen. It was this audible inhale, and it was the funniest thing.
I mean, that's gotta be strange, though.
Suit?
Oh, are we gonna see a new suit? Todd, are we gonna see a new suit?
So, okay, I'll take the heat for this one. It's like, originally you came on for the crossovers, and that suit just wasn't built to sustain a series. And I think just in everything that we were talking about earlier, it gave us this fresh slate. Yeah, let's make a new suit. So there's going to be a really badass Superman suit in this show that I'm pretty excited about.
I'm excited too.
So there you have it, guys. I just want to thank Todd and Tyler and Bitsy for participating in this panel talking about Superman and Lois, and for humoring me and drawing the Superman shield. It was really lovely seeing you guys work outside of your comfort zone, bringing artistic, creative abilities to the fore. And we'll look forward to seeing the show debut on the CW next year.
Thanks so much, Jim.
Thanks Jim.
Thank
Bye.
you.
My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive. My name is Barry Allen. I am the Flash.
Welcome to DC Fandome. I'm Chancellor Agard from Entertainment Weekly, and this is the Flash panel. Joining me today, we have Grant Gustin, who plays the Scarlet Speedster himself, the Flash, aka Barry Allen. Candace Patton, who plays reporter extraordinaire Iris West Allen. Daniel Panabaker, who pulls double duty as both Caitlin Snow and Frost. Carlos Valdez, who plays the ever-quotable mechanical engineer Cisco Ramon. Daniel Nicolay, who plays meta attorney Cecile Horton. Brandon McKnight, who plays enthusiastic scientist Chester P. Runk. And Kayla Compton, who plays Central City citizen intern Allegra Garcia. Also, we have showrunner and executive producer Eric Wallace. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Before we talk about season 7, I do want to go back through season 6, which I think was a really unique year for the show. Because Eric, you came to the season, you decided to split the season into 2 parts. Looking back on it now, how successful do you feel that was? How effective was that?
I thought it was really successful. It gave a new energy, I think, to the season. In the first half with Bloodwork, we were able to really drill down on Barry's story and on dealing with crisis. Vice versa, in the back half, we're able to really drill into Iris's character and to Citizen and Eva's story. And then we'll see at the top of season 7 how it all comes together as well.
And for the cast, especially the ones who've been here since season 1, in the moment, could you feel something different about the show and how it was structured?
I loved it. I was a big fan of it. I'm really glad that we got to, it gives the opportunity to really flesh out those villains a little bit more and not spread them out so much that you feel like you're sort of filling in episodes to get to the end.
Yeah, I think a show needs to change in order to grow.
Yeah, I think as an actor too, it prevents fatigue throughout the season. 22 episodes is a long time, 9 months. And I think for us having this kind of break in the season where a new sort of storyline emerges kind of puts us in a headspace of, feeling reinvigorated with the work. So yeah, it makes the season a bit easier to swallow altogether.
As Eric mentioned, the first half of the season was very much about sort of Barry's walk up to crisis and him dealing with his mortality.
I don't know how you're doing this. Real or not, I'm coming for you.
And yet, I'm not your foremost concern, am I? Not as much as your inevitable demise in a coming crisis? Goodness, you really are full of surprises, aren't you? So tell me, when you saw all those permutations, billions of possible futures all ending in your death, what role did I play?
Grant, for you, what was it like sort of dig into Barry in that way in the first half of the season, especially with episodes like The Last Temptation of Barry Allen?
That episode in particular, I've said it a few times since we finished it, but that was a really special episode to me. And I think it really was a good episode to show just kind of the culmination of all of his emotions and the conflict kind of boiling over. I just felt really lucky with all the material they gave me in The Last Temptation of Barry Allen, especially in part 1. It was different than anything I think we've done and anything I've done on the show, and I had a great time with it.
Did you find that episode particularly challenging?
Oh yeah, and it was a special episode, but it was definitely super challenging. But visually, I thought they did a great job. Everyone was really proud of it. It was tough, but it was fun.
And on the flip side, we dug a lot more into Iris as a journalist. For you, Candace, what was it like to sort of explore that side of Iris in more detail?
It was a long time coming. I think we've kind of teased Iris being this ace reporter since season 1. It's always kind of been put on the back burner. So it was a nice treat to finally have it be at the forefront of her character arc for the season. It's such a male-dominated cast. I love these guys. But having more women and having this kind of Charlie's Angels sort of, reporter team, it was really cool. It brought a new energy to the show, and I hope we carry on with that in the next season.
I do want to dig more into that because a couple of fans had some Team Citizen questions that we'll get to towards the end. In the season, I guess, did you feel like you discovered something new about Iris through this material?
She has this conversation with Barry as Mirror Iris, but I think it's very indicative of how real Iris truly feels, which is that, she can't always be the victim, and she's not always looking to be saved, and that she has to go out there and kind of have her own agency and do her own thing. And I think it was, words that came through Mirror Iris, but it's very true of real Iris needing to have her own agency and her own life and her own mission. And so that to me was kind of the spark of Iris kind of taking over her own life and, still loving Barry and still wanting this deep, meaningful relationship, but kind of separating in a way and saying, I have to do my own thing. I have to chase after villains. I have to chase after stories, no matter how dangerous it is. You put your life on the line to protect your city. And so I feel like I should have the right to do that as well, with superpowers or without. I was following up on a lead. So there.
And you were following a lead in the middle of the night? I mean, something could have happened to you.
Barry, that right there, that's why I didn't tell you. I don't need you to save me. I can handle myself.
How did you sort of make sense or separate in your mind Iris and Mirror Iris when you were playing them?
Iris and Mirror Iris, we wanted it to feel like we didn't know who was who. We wanted the audience to believe that Iris and Mirror Iris were almost identical. And as this season kind of progressed, we see these kind of chipping away of Mirror Iris becoming more and more sinister and evil and kind of being taken over more and more from Eva. So a lot of it came in the script of just letting the scripts progress and letting Mirror Iris become more and more sinister.
That's episode 611, Love is a Battlefield, in
There it
which
Iris
gets to break a bottle over a dude's head. How awesome was that?
Fun, yes.
It was super fun.
I mean, that really culminated in the Barry versus Mirror Iris fight, which is something we've never seen those two characters do, or in a situation like that with each other. When you guys first joined the show, did you guys ever think that you'd get to do something, do like a fight scene like that together?
Oh, I just assumed I'd always play this kind of, straight edge reporter. And so for me to ever get powers and then to have a dual personality and get to fight, I mean, it's all dream comes true kind of stuff. For 6 years, I think any actor is always looking for variety.
And on the subject of new things, I mean, this season we got 2 new characters with Chester and Kayla, and we have 2 now series regulars coming into season 7. How was your experience sort of coming into a show that's sort of 6 seasons in and sort of finding your way through it?
I was intimidated for sure. I knew these guys were a family and I was nervous. I think it was Danny who was one of the first people that made me feel so welcome. We were shooting a scene and it was really hot, and she just took me under her wing instantly. And I remember she was like, "Do you want to take a picture?" And I was like, "Do I want to take a picture with you?" Yes. And then I got the courage to ask other people to take pictures because she had made me feel so welcome instantly. So that transition was really lovely for me.
I was a big fan. I am a big fan of the show, and I watched the show. The Flash is my little sister's favorite superhero, so we watched the show since season 1. So I came in already understanding what the show was about, what the show's tone was, stuff like that. For me, it was more so just meeting everybody and getting into the same vibe that everybody else, because everybody had 5-6 years to really learn about each other and learn how everybody works together. And I was just trying to find my spot and my place without interrupting or changing too much.
And Brandon, I know in the past, Eric has talked about sort of how with Chester, he views sort of Chester, it's sort of like him, is sort of enthusiasm about science and all that. I'm curious, one, what conversations did you have with Eric about sort of crafting this performance as Chester? And two, did you base any of it on Eric himself?
I remember the first day on set, I met Eric, and it's funny, the first episode 601, the first maybe 3 or 4 days, I was pretty much just in a coma the entire time. So I was just laying on a bench or sitting at a table and stuff like that. And I remember him telling me, because I had the monologue coming up when I'm in my garage and I'm doing the stream. And I remember him just telling me, this guy's brain works faster than his mouth. He can't speak as quickly as he thinks. So every time he has a thought, he's going to another place, and then he has another thought, and he's excited about all the thoughts that he's having. So those are like that. I remember that specifically because I remember going into it being like, I don't know how much energy this guy's supposed to have. He's written with a lot of energy. He's written to be really zany and really crazy and really fun, but I don't know how big I'm allowed to go and blah, 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 blah. So Eric really showed me that, you know, you can go as big as you want to go. If it's too much, they'll take it down, that sort of thing.
I'll never forget the first time I saw Brandon work. Danielle was directing, so I came by set to see how it was going. And they were shooting the montage of like, you had just woken up and you were like, exploring Star Labs and checking all the equipment. Yeah. And I don't think I'd even met you yet. I was looking at you on the monitor.
Yeah, that was the first day we met, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I came in and said something to you because I said to Danielle, like, this dude is incredible. Like, you were doing things that, you know, I wish I could get to do on the show. And I certainly wouldn't be able to do them the way that you can do them. So I was super impressed.
It was so fun. I mean, I remember that scene too, that sequence. I had such a good time, and I feel like we shot a lot more than ultimately ended up in the episode. But we were just having such a good time with it. But I also remember in 601, we saw your monologue. I think it was certainly before I'd had any scenes with you. And I feel like we watched your monologue and we all looked at each other and were like, oh, he's great. Like, so you really came into the show with a lot of love.
Hey, what up, party people? Welcome to a world where all are welcome and anything, including the scientifically impossible, can and probably will happen. I'm your boy, Chicka Chester, with knowledge from the bleeding edge of physics and beyond.
Kayla, with Allegra, I'm curious, coming into the show, I mean, how did you sort of connect with your character and in what ways did you relate to her?
The way I look at Allegra is that she just wants to fit in and belong somewhere. And I just super resonate with that. Family is really important to me. My friendships are really important to me, and belonging to something or having a community is just really important to me. So that was one of the first things that I like connected with Allegra. She just wants a family and she like wants to belong, and she hasn't had that previously. And so I just super resonate with her on that level.
For you, I guess
you're in the Flash family now.
Yeah. Thanks.
I mean, with the character, did you feel like you sort of really clicked in with her immediately, sort of on day one, or was there sort of a process for you to sort of figure your way through that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I learned more about her with every episode. I also, you know, my first episode, I didn't know if there was going to be more episodes for me. And so that was all I had. And so I just really gave that my everything. And in that first episode, you learn a little bit about her history and a criminal background. And so like that I didn't necessarily immediately get on with, but as I've, you know, done more episodes, I've learned a lot more about her and loved her more and connected with her more.
Danielle, I mean, we just talked about your directorial debut, and I was curious. I feel like you've spoken a lot about how sort of acting has informed you as a director. I'm curious, after directing 2 episodes of the show, how has that sort of formed how you approach your role as an actor on the show, both as Caitlin and Frost?
I feel like part of the reason I love directing so much is because I've always tried to, you know, be on set with my eyes wide open and look at all the different departments and learn as much as I can. So I definitely feel like it's informed. You're right. I do feel like the directing's informed my acting, but hopefully my acting informed my directing too. All, those years of experience and spending time on set. I love it. I'm excited to get back to work too.
And this season, season 6, was all about sort of Frost finding herself or finding a way to craft a life for herself. For you, what was it like to explore that journey with this character in season 6?
It was great. It was really fun to get to explore Killer Frost as a real character and a person and a human being with feelings and emotions, and not just necessarily this person who, you know, pops up for a fight and then disappears and we don't really know her perspective on things. So it was really fun to get to dig in and flesh that out and have a little bit of fun with it. You know, like Candace was saying earlier, it's nice to have the variety after, you know, 6 seasons and we're rapidly approaching 150 episodes.
For you, I mean, what do you think is sort of the next step for Frost in her sort of development?
I'm excited because it sounds like Killer Frost is going to go on a date soon, and I'm really excited to see that.
That might happen.
Do we think she has the best table manners? Probably not.
And Danny, I mean, again, on the subject of change, this season for Cecile, she sort of decides to become a meta attorney for metahumans. For you, what has it been like to see this character evolve from when she was initially introduced to where she is now?
You know, she went from being a regular person to having powers, but then those powers evolving, and they continue to evolve every season. So it's fun for me because every time I get to explore where it's going. And since I joined the show a couple seasons after it started, I always sort of felt like coming into it, my job was to figure out how I can be whatever puzzle piece is missing. Everyone else on the show's already so amazing, and their characters are so well fleshed out that I'm always trying to figure out where Cecile fits and where she can support the team and where she can support the show in its entirety. So it's a blast for me because I got to be a regular person, then I got to be a telepath, and then I got to be an empath, and then now I am a meta defense attorney. And then from what I understand, there's going to be some shifts next season too.
In shooting those scenes where her empath powers sort of come into play, how do you sort of go through that as the actor? Do you like sort of imagine like the sound we eventually hear on TV, or how do you?
It was a little hard to kind of wrap my head around in the beginning. I think it's hard for anyone to play powers, whether they're coming out of their hands or they're inside or somewhere in the middle. I think just as an actor, you have to go back to basics and believe where you're at and completely invest in your character's reality. And that's her reality. And so I try to really just believe what's on the page and what's written for me and play it exactly that way.
Is there something that you're hoping to do that you haven't gotten a chance to do on the show yet?
I have always, this is not news to anybody, Eric will not be surprised, I have wanted Cecile to be bad, just a little bit bad, forever. So just a little bit, because she's so good. I would have a lot of fun playing like bad Cecile. I've offered many times to switch powers with Killer Frost just for an episode, but unfortunately, Eric does not believe me to be as good of a writer as I am an actor. So he continues to not buy my pitches.
But I listen. I am listening. I'm listening. I feel you. You never know. You never know.
And Carlos, I mean, this season 5 ended with him giving up his powers, and this season was very much about him figuring out what his role on the team was without those powers. After 5 seasons of Cisco's vibe, what was it like for you to explore this new, this Cisco in a new place like this?
I don't think he regrets that decision, but I think it definitely haunts him. I'm actually feeling a lot like Cisco these days because, like, you know, I'll have a fan that I'll like see on the street or whatever. They'll be like, "Yo," but vibe though. Come on. You know, and I have to imagine Cisco's probably feeling very similarly. Like, I know. Okay. But you know, it was such a big decision for him that I feel like the ripple effect, you know, the repercussions for that in terms of, you know, Cisco's sense of identity, you know, we're still seeing those waves, and we'll continue to see those waves into season 7. So I'm just, you know, riding the wave.
The beginning of season 6 actually had an episode called Kiss Kiss Breach Breach, which is Cisco-centric, and included on the DVD set coming out in August is a black and white version of that episode, and we have a clip from that episode. So let's check it out.
You murdered my daughter!
No, I didn't do it! I swear!
Liar!
Believe me! Leave him alone!
Where did you get that?
In Cisco's workshop. I don't know how it got there.
I do. He just murdered my daughter with it.
No, Fraser, I don't care what you think you saw, okay? You know Cisco. You know how much he cared about Gypsy. There's got to be another explanation.
Babe, please.
No, what about doppelgangers?
She's right. There's thousands of other versions of me out there.
Yeah, and they're all pencil pushers. None of them are scientists like you. You had motive, just enough guts to do this.
Richard, I swear, I don't know how this is possible.
Unless it breeds psychosis.
Camilla, what time did you find me sleepwalking the other night?
I don't know. Maybe 4 a.m.?
You're guilty! But you're not in your right mind. I didn't just lose a daughter today. I lost a son. Because I still respect the man you were. Now, I'm gonna give you an hour to get all your affairs in order and then turn yourself in, or I will end you.
Wow, right?
Pretty cool,
so
huh?
exciting.
Very cool.
Eric, what was it? What went into release a black and white version of this episode?
Well, it's a film noir story, and I always wanted it to be black and white. What was really great in making the episode with the director Manoj Huda, he had an idea because he knew I wanted it to be in black and white. He said, "Well, why don't we do the vibes in black and white?" And it's something that Carlos had always talked about, is how you could do vibes differently and how unique that could be as a directorial challenge. And Carlos was saying how even way back in season 1, that was something they needed to figure out. Well, when Minaj did that, we cut it into the episode. It dawned on me, oh, we can have a special edition of this that achieves this vision of an entire film noir story, all in black and white. Danny Trejo in black and white. How awesome is that?
Carlos, for you, I mean, that again, the episode was so Cisco-centric about him dealing with Gypsy's death. What was it like leading the A-plot?
So gratifying to my budding narcissism. You know, getting to work with Danny is always like such a pleasure. And also getting to like really sort of navigate the relationship with Camilla too. I felt like at that point, like, you know, the relationship was progressing and it needed to like, you know, reach a major crucible or something. And I think that episode definitely did that. And it was a perfect way to like sort of demonstrate how these two are compatible. So yeah, it was very gratifying.
And the last time we saw Cisco in the season, he was heading off to Atlantis. I'm curious, in your mind, have you sort of thought about what Cisco does, what someone does in Atlantis when they visit?
I just like, you know, chatted up with the dolphins and stuff. Like definitely, you know, probably some, you know, Aquaman action in there somewhere. You know, I hope Cisco comes back from Atlantis soon, because Atlantis does not pay as well. So.
And on that note, we also have a sizzle reel for what's to come in season 7. When we last left off season 6, Eva McCulloch had gotten what she wanted, and she framed Sue. And the sizzle will sort of tease what's to come when the show returns. So let's check out that clip.
I've achieved my goal. This company is all mine. You lost your speed? You're not much of a threat, are you? You just stay out of my way, Flash.
Iris is my wife. I have to save her.
What are you? I am a product of your broken mind.
How much speed do you have left?
Enough for a few hours. I need your help to build an artificial speed force. That's how I can get my speed back.
I was an empath too, only I never held back. What did you do to me? Imagine what you'd become if you weren't so afraid.
This time, no one is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your husband. There's only two options in this place: survival or madness.
You lied.
Yeah, I lied. Oh, frack. There's a supersonic jet about to crash over the city. And the Flash isn't fast enough to stop it. Eva can move anywhere, through any mirror in the universe, in the blink of an eye. She's faster than I am, and somehow I'm supposed to stop her?
I have unfinished business and a whole world to liberate.
We need a plan. We've all lost so much this year. Some things can't be taken. We still have our will to fight for those we love.
Keep watching. Keep trying to break me, because I'm not afraid of the woman that I am today. But you are, Eva.
Team Flash needs as many hands on deck as possible.
Well, now, Flash.
We go save Iris and our friends.
Get everybody back.
Eric, can you talk about what we're seeing there?
When we had the shutdown happen, as unfortunate as it was, we were on the last day of filming for what would have been the 20th episode of last season, which now will become partially the first episode of season 7. So we did have 85% of the footage that we were able to use. Plus, also, we knew where we were going already in season 7. So even though it's only footage really from one episode, pay attention to the way it's presented. It's actually huge spoilers all over the place.
And that sizzle had a lot of Iris in it, a lot of Iris in the Mirrorverse. Candace, I mean, can you sort of, in your mind, I guess, how do you think her time in the Mirrorverse has sort of affected her?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see when she comes out, and I believe she will come out very soon when we pick up season 7. It'll be very interesting to see how she's been affected by being kind of stuck in this maddening world with this super villain. Obviously, Team Flash and Barry were working to get her. It took a while. I don't know if there's some resentment there or what's going on, or if there's even some like residual mental effect of being in that mirror world and seeing things backwards and how that affects her. I have no idea. That's kind of up to Eric.
And Danny, the sizzle also showed that there's more to come in the way of Cecile's powers. What can you share about that?
I think that it's fair to say Cecile's powers up until this point have been passive. And I think going forward, we're going to see them evolving into something that's more active. We're going to find Cecile exploring that and maybe struggling with it a little bit and finding her way with it. And possibly getting herself into some trouble in the meantime.
Definitely.
Chester becomes even more integral to Team Flash as sort of Team Flash sort of coming back together. What can you say about Chester's sort of the role that Chester will sort of fill on Team Flash?
What Chester's real superpower is his optimism.
Nash currently has sort of all of the Welleses from the old multiverse in his mind. I guess in season 7, how will the way in which Wells is used change for the show?
Radically, but super fun, and you're not going to see it coming. I love the Allegra and Nashville's relationship so much. It was one of the joys when the dailies would come back and I would see these two wonderful actors kind of getting to know each other from early on, and then Exorcism of Nash Wells, learning why they kind of have this relationship. So there'll be more of that.
Preview show that sort of Barry is sort of working as hard as he can to get his powers back, get his speed back. I mean, for you, do you think Barry has enjoyed any part of not having his speed at this point, or do you think he really does really misses it, I guess?
Yeah, no, I think he really just misses it. I don't think, especially with Iris being trapped in the Mirrorverse at the moment, and then Eva being a factor, I don't think any part of him has been like, well, I guess I'll just enjoy this downtime while I can. I think he genuinely not just wants his powers back, but he feels that he needs them back. And he's also started to feel that they define him, and what is he without them? Yeah, I mean, it's taking a toll on him, just mentally.
Big bads for season 7. Eric, what can you tease about who these new, or who, I guess, at least the first one, who they will be, and what and how they will sort of challenge Team Flash in a new way?
Wow, I don't like spoilers. Let's just say there was a certain speedster who wore a white costume whose clones kept showing up. And it really, Team Flash had to deal with that, but we never caught the real guy or girl, right? Who knows? Let's just say we might find out that mystery this season.
Spoilers. I mean, without spoiling, it's for you. What makes Godspeed an interesting villain for you? Just on, I guess, without getting into sort of what the show can do with it, but it's like coming to the season. What was it about Godspeed? You're like, oh, there's something there for that.
Two things. One, the current run of the comics that Joshua is writing is terrific, and I want to make sure that new fans, especially new young fans who are reading the comic book right now, are welcomed to the show. So it's not just Silver Age villains and Bronze Age villains. There might be a young girl or a young boy who is reading those Flash comics right now and going, where's my villain, my generation's villain?
Who is this guy anyway?
An old family friend. His name's Godspeed, and he's from the future.
I want that same experience for a young person now to go, well, my villain is Godspeed. He's only 8 years, he's only been around for 5 or 8 years or so. So bringing him in is very important to me to expand the audience. That's number one. Two, Godspeed, unlike, say, Reverse Flash, has no emotional connection, supposedly, right, to the Flash. So the question is, why is Godspeed angry at the Flash? We got to keep the show fresh. We've got more to say.
I mean, in light of everything that's happened recently, we have two characters on the show, Barry and Joe, who work for the police department. And have you sort of thought about how you're going to approach their jobs in this coming season, and maybe change or maybe not?
The world right now is on fire. We have to look at what's around us. It definitely informs specifically Joe's story this season, but in a good way and in a positive way, because we need to be socially responsible as artists. Yes, I love comic books and the Flash, but I'm a person first. We have to be people first and work together to make the world a better place. I believe that. That's where those changes are coming from. So yeah, you'll notice some changes, definitely.
And with that, let's move on to some fan questions.
Hi, I'm Sammy, and this is my question. How is Nash Wells going to adjust with all of the new Harrisons in his mind?
What's it like having a million Wells in your head? You're going to find out real fast.
For Grant, which from all over the world wanted to know this, when will we get to see the Flash in the iconic gold boots?
Well, this might be a question for me, but really it's for Eric, because I don't know if this is saying too much, but if it were up to me, it would have been like 2 seasons ago. So I think Eric's going to have to answer this one.
Yeah, well, Grant and I have talked extensively about this. For the record, I love gold boots too, right? I just think they must be earned, right? So it's like, when's the right time to unleash them? I think a story is the best way to unleash them. So I'm determined to get you your gold boots, Grant. I promise. I just can't say when, but it will happen. I promise.
Christmas is always a good time to give gifts.
And from South Africa, this is a two-part question. First, as a leader of Team Citizen, how will we see Team Citizen evolve once the show returns?
I don't know. That's more of a question for Eric.
Yes, you'll see much more of Team Citizen investigating a very specific thing that I can't talk about right now because I feel terrible, but it's true. It's true. But they've got a lot of fallout because the leader of Team Citizen is in the Mirrorverse. So what's been going on with Team Citizen while she's been gone? I think they need to start there.
And the second part of that question, can we expect to see more of the mentorship relationship between Iris and Allegra in more of the Team Citizen office?
I hope so. I would expect so. I think if we're going to be spending a lot of work time together, I think it's only natural for two women to have an evolving relationship. And I think we've already kind of seen that grow in season 6. And I hope there's more of that in season 7. I think it's a great opportunity for a really beautiful female relationship and friendship.
What could need our attention more than this? Your cousin was a victim, Allegra, and now some secret organization is using her. I mean, how many others are they using?
We need to help them.
Right. I mean, no one wants to find out what happened to Esperanza more than me, but is this really what matters the most to you right now?
Yeah. Now, come on, get your stuff. Camilla is going to see if she can recover any other photos. You and I have a stakeout date. You're the boss.
Yeah, I
Kayla,
echo that. I echo that. I'm really looking forward to that. And I think it's got to happen, right? Especially as we've expanded Candace's story, Iris's story. I think this is the first time Iris has ever had someone come under her, right? So this is a really good opportunity for lots of new fun stuff.
Last season, we got to see some romantic moments between Barry and Iris, even though it was Mirror Iris. Will we get to see more of that with the real Iris this season? And this question comes from Jamaica.
Iris will be getting out of the Mirrorverse shortly after we return with season 7. So regardless of what exactly that's going to entail, we're going to see them together a lot more next year than we did last year.
They will find their way back to each other eventually. A lot of the romance and the chemistry between Grant and I has always been something even deeper than that. It's the way we look at each other and the way the characters are written.
And Grant, this one's for you. We have some amazing Flash fan art and cosplay to show you.
Okay, guys, right now I'm looking at a cosplay fan art of Vladimir Moriso. I hope I'm saying that right. It's from California. And this thing is epic. Honestly, he's got a better superhero pose than I think I've ever had for a Flash photo shoot. So I could learn a thing or two from Vladimir, I think. All right, I love this one by Shannon Beltran from the UK. It's me and my bud Wally, Keenan Lonsdale. I love this moment when we were reunited and we did our fist bump. I think it was scripted as a fist bump, which we were happy to do, but then we were like, I'm hugging Keenan. This is awesome. Good job, Shannon. Hamlet Roman from Colombia. Awesome image of Barry, myself as Barry, running up a building, and the season 2 suit, I believe, season 2, season 3. This thing is really cool. God, you guys are talented.
Well, that'll do it for us today. Thank you all for joining me for this panel. I had a really good time. For everyone watching, please make sure you tune into The Flash when it returns in 2021. And again, remember that The Flash, the complete 6th season, is available now on digital and comes out on Blu-ray and DVD on August 25th.
Hey everyone, I am Damian Holbrook from TV Guide Magazine and TV Insider, and I am so excited to welcome you to DC Fandome, and you are watching the Titans panel. Titans are back, bitches! Woo! Let's introduce all of you along the way. We've got executive producer Greg Walker, Brenton Thwaites, who plays Dick Grayson, Tegan Croft, who plays Rachel, Anna Jope, who plays Corey Anders, Ryan Potter, who plays Gar Logan, Alan Richson, who plays Hank Hall, Minka Kelly, who plays Dawn Granger, our new guy, Joshua Orpin, who plays Connor, and Connor Leslie, who plays Donna, and then Curran Walters, who plays Jason Todd, and Damaris Lewis, who's coming in as Blackfire. Greg, when you got your hands on this property, what was your first idea to do with this? Because in the comic books, it can be a little lighthearted.
The idea was to take, the Perez Wolfman comics and really live in a world where, there's been 25, 30 years of superhero movies since then, and the world has changed. And we wanted to put this in a real psychologically and emotionally grounded universe.
You guys got like the thumbs up from Marv Wolfman.
He's been in the writer's room too. It's been amazing. He comes around and, we'll hang out and talk about what it was like to write the books and give, he loves the show. He watches every episode, and he's still close with Jeff Johns. So we get the feedback from him, and he's really happy.
we've got a list of some fan favorite moments. We're going to kick off with my choice because I'm the moderator and I get to say that. And there were so many that I wanted to pick because there's so many great moments along these first 2 seasons. But the one I went with was Dawn taking down the meth lab in the 2nd episode of season 2. Because I love this because it's so dark, it's so much shadows and just outlines. And then there's this humor and it has this great button at the end. But my favorite thing about it is that Dawn is probably the least like her superhero character. Like outside of the uniform, she's mild and she's measured and she's got this soft way about it. Like I kind of want her to become like the team's therapist because she seems to like really get it. Like she understands what's going on here. So let's look at this shot, this sequence from the episode Rose.
What the was that? Please don't kill me.
Where's your phone?
This is 911. What's your emergency?
There's a meth lab at 2751 Hollister Lane. It's being run by
3 complete dip.
3 complete dip. So, you better have someone come down and arrest us. Thank you for your time.
Your mother would be very proud.
I have to give it up to Orphe. My stunt double really does all the work when it comes to having to navigate those wings because they sort of take on a life of their own. Like the weight of them just takes you. So you really have to learn how to move with them when you're throwing yourself around. It's a fun challenge.
The first fan clip that everyone kind of like came to was this was a big one because I don't think anyone expected to see this so early in the show. It's Donna breaking out the lasso for the first time.
Stop hurting her! Corey! Corey, what are you?
Stop.
Heck yeah.
I love the Corey and Donna friendship. It was something I remember reading about when I started doing some research. And so when I read that like they start off kind of rocky, I wasn't even mad at it because I knew that it would turn into this great friendship. And we kind of got a taste of that in season 2. So I kind of love that their friendship grew from this initial moment where they like butt heads, but it's because I think they're pretty similar in a lot of ways.
Don't all great friendships start out with a lasso around the neck? And
A little bit, yeah. But they all start off with like really kick-ass women. Yeah.
Really? Can resist.
All right, let's look at clip 2. This is also one of my favorites because it has a humor to it that I don't think you were writing to, or maybe you had it there, but there is it is when Dick found out that Jason got to drive the Batmobile. And this is, I think it perfectly sets up that original dynamic between these two of like the big brother and like the annoying stepbrother. So let's run that scene from episode 6, Jason Todd.
Why are you doing this? Why do you even want to be Robin?
Are you kidding? This is the dopest gig ever.
Hanging out with Batman, kicking bad guys' asses, being famous, driving the goddamn Batmobile.
He lets you drive the Batmobile. Wouldn't you rather have your own name? Like Sparrow or Blue Jay for Jason?
No. The whole point is being Robin. Batman needs Robin. Why do you think it makes us wear those lame colors? Because we're drawing fire. Look over here! And boom. The bat lands and starts trashing ass.
I think that scene describes it perfectly. They're, like you said, it's the brother-stepbrother relationship, you know, and the build between them over the season. And season 2 even showed more. So I think that was probably the best scene that shows the relationship for sure.
You know, with dialogue like, you know, the bat lands and starts trashing ass, you naturally hate the person that, you know, it's very easy to act like you're annoyed. And Corin does that so well with such a playfulness. It's very easy to connect with. I think that Dick is, you know, he's annoyed by that and he's frustrated by this kid, but essentially takes on the role of mentor and tries to inspire him to be, you know, to believe in the same things that he does and to fight crime in the way that Dick is learning to fight crime. And ultimately he fails in connecting with him. And that scene at the end of season 2 on the rooftop is kind of an example of Dick putting aside his problems and offering to open up that channel and you know and kind of put it on the table as, you know, I'll help you and be a mentor. And I think it's a nice conflict to have with Dick, because that's the reason why he left Batman. Batman, you know, Bruce failed as a mentor and as a guider. And a lot of emotional trauma kind of comes from that with Dick, and essentially he's doing the same thing. So I think deep down it's that, you know, it's trying to be that father figure for Jason, but also, you know, dealing with the same kind of frustration and challenges that Bruce dealt with when dealing with him.
They need your leadership, Jason. You need to set the tone. I'm not Robin anymore. You are.
The next clip is quintessential Jason. So I'm not even going to set it up. So I'm sure you guys know what it is, but let's roll this clip from season 2, episode 1.
All we know is that whatever the cause of the phenomenon, it appears to have been abated by this new group of masked heroes. So apart from some dead birds, we seem to have...
Titans are back, bitches! Woo!
You're kind of an aren't you, kid?
Yeah, but you like me. Can't admit it.
Never gonna happen.
What's hard about these scenes for me, especially, I always love when it's Kurt and I, because he's in real life the most infectious, vivacious, effervescent soul I've ever met. You know, just so always fun to be around. Just, you know, doesn't have to be talking. You're like,
same with you, Alan.
Your review, you know, and so, you know, to always be the one like putting the lid on it, you know, in the scenes is actually tough.
When you're not filming, Alan makes you crack up 24/7 off camera. So that was just awesome to work with him.
This next clip is the scene with Crypto and Connor at with the Luthor strike team, and it has one of my favorite shots from this series. So let's run that first, and then we'll talk about it. Let's run that episode Connor.
Everybody get down! Nobody move! Get down! Do not move! What in God's name's going on? You can't come into my house and order people around. Quiet!
Hey!
Shut up!
Stop that! What are you doing? What? No, stop that! Stand down, goddammit!
Subject targeted. Firing.
I mean, let's be real. Like, Crypto is the MVP of that scene and probably of the episode. So whenever you're in a scene with him, like, nothing can go wrong, man.
Josh has become also the unofficial assistant dog trainer. So Josh has dog treats in his hand all the time. That dog listens to Josh more than he listens to his own trainers now.
Shout out to Stefan, the stunt guy who did it. But he was rigged to this thing that like pulled him through a fake wall, and it took like 4 hours to set up. We had one that didn't go quite right, and we had to reset the wall. We got a new wall and did it again, and it ended up taking like the whole day pretty much to get that one shot. But yeah, worth it for sure.
And you and Brenton also had an awesome scene near the end of in the season finale, actually.
Yeah, it was great. We had that iconic flying scene where we could kind of have our cake and eat it too. So no flying in Titans, except in my mind. Yeah, no, it was good. We had some great moments there with Dick and Connor. I'm hoping there'll be a few more in season 3.
Okay, and then the last clip that we have is this was a big deal for the people that were watching the first season, because it was really the first time we got to see the team working together. It is not 100% successful of a team up, but that's Titans. So let's roll the clip from episode 5 together.
Where's Dick? I don't know.
Corey?
Stand back. Get behind me. It's time to burn. Night. Dick?
That's Robin.
You should put your toys away when you're finished with them.
I'll say I'm so happy to see that this scene was voted on by the fans, because it was so hard to film. I don't know if you guys remember, but we were filming in what we
hotel like 6 times or something.
Yeah, what we were lovingly calling the struggle motel in the middle of the night, and it was freezing. We went there so many times, and yeah, so I'm really glad to see that people responded to the scene.
It was super exciting for me because I'd worked with everybody individually and I loved everybody, and I was super excited to have everyone all together in the same scene. It was a really fun night, even if it was really freezing.
And shout out to the nuclear family. They were so dope. They're like my favorite. Amazing. Pitch perfect.
Damaris, we got to